evening, everybody. Nice to see you in the stream. We've got nearly 100 people in already, and I'm back in the UK, unfortunately. Let's say hi to a few people. So we'll say hi to Gary Childs. You're saying the Philippines is open. Yeah, I heard about that, Gary. The Philippines is open in February. There's no restrictions, is there? If you like Philippines, then that's good news for you. Nicholas in Bangkok, you're leaving a lot of comments this evening, my man. I haven't seen you in here before, but welcome. Crypto Chris, hi. Big Tinge, is it? Roger, early afternoon in Brazil. Evil C, nice picture. She is really selling those implants. That's, I think you're referring to the girl on the thumbnail. I put her up every week, but a different picture. I have to cut out all the background now. She's nice though, isn't she? Chris, Asian Putang, yeah. Carl Wirod, is it? Hey, all great. Welcome back. Dutch Frang, hi. Carl, Javier Lopez. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you again. Peter, in such good form. Looking forward to hearing more about your Thailand trip. Yeah, so just, guys, if you've just joined me in the stream tonight, obviously this is the first one back in the UK. It's a lot easier doing this than waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning like I did when I was back in Bangkok. That was really tough. But I wanted the live streams to go out at the same time, so you know I could sort of keep them going for you guys. But getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, having a coffee, hoping to feel fresh before it was hardcore. I don't really want to do that for again. Right, Nicholas, what's going on here, mate? You're leaving lots and lots of comments here, one after the other. Right, Paul Hoskin, I don't know if he's in yet. He's getting a bit of a fan club going now. Danish Bacon says, is he in yet? And I noticed somebody else also said, is Paul Hoskin in? Evening, Peter. Have Danish Bacon, evening, Peter. Have the Thailand Blues kicked in? And what was it worth it in the end? Yeah. I'm going to run right through it tonight, guys. I haven't got anything prepared as far as like joke of the week, adverts, ladyboy competitions. There's none of that tonight. I'm simply thanks, Mark. Marky Mark straight in with a super chat there. Let me just stick that up on the screen. Oh, he always does that. Thanks a lot, Mark. No ladyboy competition tonight, though, Mark. So hopefully you'll be okay till next week. Right, let me just say hi to everybody else. So what I was saying there, yeah, you can ask me anything you want to tonight, guys. I mean, I've been in Bangkok for 5 weeks. You know, it wasn't the most successful trip as far as I got a positive result. I self-isolated for a week, and then I went and got food poisoning for a couple of days. So it was really the good, the bad, and the ugly, more ugly than good. But I did have a good time, and I'll go through everything with you a little bit in a while. Let me just say hi to everyone, and we'll wait for a few more people to join us. 236 in now. I'm kind of envious of Ed Sweeney now, because when I was there, he was in the UK, and I know he would have been watching my streams thinking, you know, look at him on Pattaya Beach having a good time. And now it's the other way around. Ed's over there and I'm sitting in the UK. I'll tell you what I can't get used to. I've never noticed it before, but this trip I've really noticed it. It's this cold weather, guys. It's horrible. I mean, I don't normally, of course you notice it, but, you know, in Bangkok at the moment, it isn't blazing hot. You know, if you go there around April, it's so uncomfortably hot that it's unbearable to sit in an outside bar. You've got to go in a go-go bar just for the air conditioning. You know, you go around a couple of the smaller bars outside and you get so sweaty and hot that to go into a go-go bar with air conditioning and have one drink, it's kind of like, you know, it's almost like you've died and gone to heaven. But it isn't like that at the moment. It's kind of like 27, 28 degrees in the evening. And when I was out, there's actually a breeze coming through, even in Bangkok. And it was very, very pleasant. So, you know, to wear a T-shirt and go out in the evening and sit in the bars and feel comfortable and then come back to cold England, it's horrible. I can't get used to it. But I've made a big decision this time now, which I'll tell you about a little bit. Hi, Damon. How you doing? Let me get you up on screen there. Evening, Mr. Peter. Great to have you back in GB UK stream again. Yeah, I was just saying, Damon, it's so much easier than getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Hi to Tilt. Nice to see you back in again, mate. Shin Rana. Shin, he sent me quite a few messages while I was in Bangkok. The replies I sent you, Shin, they weren't always, they're kind of short and sweet, but you know what it's like when you're in Thailand, you're trying to do things. And, you know, I had other people messaging me as well. And I don't like to not reply to messages. I think that's rude. As busy as you are, you can reply to a message. So I hope I replied to all of them, but they weren't always like lengthy ones. Tony Mullins, Philippines, anyone? Yeah. Lija, hi, how are you? Yeah, back to reality. Andy on tour, Broken Dreams. Hi, Mucka. Yeah. Max Veit, hi. Paul Hoskin, hello to all the muffin lovers. Right. Paul, I'm glad you've joined us because you're gathering a bit of a fan club in here. There's actually been a couple of people here who said, is Paul Hoskins in tonight? So I'm glad that it's probably these the stuff like you've put on the screen there, screen that you're getting you followed. Kevin Lampard, hi Peter, glad you got back. Yeah, thank you. Brian Street, hi mate, welcome. Who's that? Jay Street, hello from New Zealand. Joey Clacton, is it? Les, hello. Aloha, Peter. Happy to know you made it home safely. Yeah, it was actually good to get back to Heathrow. I'll talk about it a bit later. But Mark Nicholas, hi Peter. What's it like to be home? Terrible. Mickey P, good evening everyone. Hi, Andrew Jones. Better now to go to the Philippines. Yeah, I mean it's probably easier to go to the Philippines, but if you're not, me, I don't want to slate off any other country, but I don't really want to go to the Philippines. I mean, I've been there a couple of times before, and it wasn't my kind of place. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. The best thing about the Philippines, everyone speaks English, don't they? So it's a lot easier to get around and communicate. But it just wasn't really me. I prefer Thailand. Black Bolt, hey, how you doing? Great thumbnail. Yeah, she's a nice girl, isn't she? Right, Gerardo Trilobites, is it? Hi, welcome back. Juan Carlos, hi. Nicholas in Bangkok. Right, Peter, hope they're packing me. It wasn't expensive of our office. Don't understand that one, Nicholas. Peter, hope they're packing me. No, I don't. It's gone straight on my head, Nicholas. Archie Westmoreland, good to see you back. Timothy So, hi Peter. I'm off on a cruise tomorrow. Thailand will have to wait. All right. Dutch Frank. Okay, you talk to someone else. Scott G, hey Peter, good evening. How you doing, Scott? Nice to see you in the stream. Joe Bowser, hit that like button. Yeah, hit the like button, guys, if you like it, of course. If you don't, I'll tell you what kind of shocked me. I'm looking at the numbers now, and I've got 322 in this stream. That's pretty normal for me. I'll normally do anywhere between sort of 280, 350. Other people get lots more in than me. Lots more. But that first stream I done at 4 o'clock in the morning from Bangkok, not the one last week, but the one before there, the first one where it was really bad quality. I had almost 900 people in the stream. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. And then 600 the week after. Now it's settled down to what it normally is, 300 something. Stephen Roberts, hi. Yeah, Nicholas, Tony Mullins, Michael Walker, hi Michael. Good to see you in the stream tonight. Let's get your picture up there. Have I missed out any? Up to you. Hi to you. Gorgeous Thailand. Good name. It's a disgrace the way Thailand are treating foreigners once in Thailand. Well, I'm not going to comment on that. Right, okay. Dave Dorman, is it? Red Hammer, Joe Bowser, Barfine 69, Powerline 69. Big up, Peter. I've seen you in Ed's stream a couple of weeks. Was it last week or the week before? Nice to see you here again. You were in last time as well. Jace Reed, hi from New Zealand. Frankel Sheen, hey up, lad. Good, you're back. Laja, hi Peter from Yorkshire. That's HFC 65. Okay, Taxi Delo, can't wait to hear the stories from the trip. I mean, really, if you want to know anything about this trip, I tried to cover as much as I had. I banged out loads of videos while I was there. I mean, it was like when I went there, because I've been 2 years running a channel about Thailand from England. When I went out there, it was kind of almost addictive. People said to me before I went out there, they said, look, forget about us. We'll be here when you come back. Just enjoy your holidays. But I couldn't. I mean, I really enjoy making the videos. And I know that sounds a bit cheesy, but I really do. And, I think I put out something like 14, 15 videos in all the time I was there. But hopefully you enjoyed them. I've got one more tomorrow from Thailand, and it's really good. It's a 30-minute video. And after this week, I'm going to have to be putting out the stories from next week again. The stories will be kicking in again. But the last one I've got for you tomorrow, it's up for the members already. But for everybody else, I'll launch it in the morning. I'll let it go in the morning. But I'll mention this again at the end. But I went to. Do you remember the film Bridge on the River Kwai? Well, I actually went to the bridge on the River Kwai and Hellfire Pass. Let me just say hi to that person who's given me a super chat down there. Hey, then, thanks for that. Let's hear about your plans to retire in Thailand. Yeah, that's a big decision I've made while I was out there. Thanks for that super chat. Let me go back to. I like to try and say hello to everyone who's in here, but I'll do it over time, so I don't want to send you to sleep. Right, Franco, how are you? Is it which Franco is it? Because we get a couple in. Franco Sheen. Okay, hi. Yeah, Nicholas in Bangkok. I'll answer that one. You said, so how much was the parking fee? So if you don't know, you know, I went to Thailand for, there was planned for 3 weeks. I was booked to come back on the 5th of January. I tested positive on the 4th. So I had to stay, I self-isolated for a week. And then after that, I thought, well, I'm not going to jump straight on a plane. I want another week to kind of enjoy myself. But of course, my car was in long-term parking at Purple Park in Heathrow Terminal 2. And I was, how many days was it? I was 18, I think it was 18 days over, 17 days over. So I had to pay their gate charge of £10 a day. So it wasn't that bad, actually. It was £180. I mean, totally, I paid nearly £400, but it was in there for 5 weeks, and it is Heathrow. But what really sort of cheesed me off a little bit was I picked the car up at 8 o'clock in the morning, and they charged me, Purple Barking, that is. I've been using them for about 20 years. Before they had their site on Bath Road, they used to have another site. I can't remember where it is, but you go under a railway bridge, and it was, you know, it had those big gas things that you don't see anymore. More than 20 years ago, I've been a regular customer using them. And I said to the girl on the desk, you know, I said, look, you know, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. You're charging me £10. I've already paid £200 for the 3 weeks. I'm now paying another £170, £180. And you're going to charge me for today, really? And she was like, well, it's a company's policy. We charge from midnight to midnight. And I said, well, that might be. I said, but it's not fair, is it? But you can't tell them, you know, they're like robots. You know, they got their policies and that's it. They won't budge. So I'm going to think twice before I use Purple Parking again, because I think that was a bit meaner than, you know, like I said, pick the car up at 8 o'clock in the morning and they charged me £10. I felt like they basically squeezed me for every last bit of sweat, as it were. So I'll think twice before I use them again. Right. That's my little whinge. Right, Paul Moroni. Hi, Peter. Just wanted to say massive thank you for your tips on losing weight. I'm following your advice and things are finally working with 1 stone shifted. Oh, well done. You're an inspiration. Right, the thing is, Paul, I've actually put about 3 or 4 kilos on when I went to Thailand. And the reason is it's really difficult because they put sugar in everything. You know, if you order a fresh orange juice, in one of the videos I was saying, they'll get a jug of orange out, and they actually literally put a tablespoon of sugar into the cup before they put the orange. And I'm like, no, hey, don't put any sugar in there. And it's like pad thai, you know, the noodles and chicken or prawns, you know, they put sugar in that. And you have to tell them, don't put sugar in it, you know. And but you can't always win. And, you know, all that stuff you buy from a 7-Eleven, it's all packed with sugar. They even put sugar in their milk. You know, they've got one brand, it says 0 on it, and it doesn't taste sweet. So that's what I buy for my coffee in the morning in the room. But it's really difficult. So I think if you live there, it's different. Obviously, you can go out and do your own shopping, and you can find out the places to eat where they're a bit more healthy. I was having quite a lot of Caesar salads from a restaurant called Vivo in Soy 8 while I was there. Quite expensive, but it was good food. But yeah, well done on the losing weight, Paul. And if you're interested in losing weight, I did put a video up a while ago. It's called How I Lost 20 Kilos in 6 months, something like that. You see 3 bellies in a row. Charming Farang. Hi, Peter. I'm glad to have had a good holiday. Yeah, Jamie 296. Good to see you. Paul Hoskin. Right. What did you eat to make you ill? A lot of people ask me that, Paul, and it's a really difficult one to answer because you don't eat and then immediately start vomiting, do you? Unless you eat something so bad that it would do that. What happens? You go out, you have a meal, and it can be a bit of something that's been left on the side in the sun, and some chicken or maybe the fresh vegetables. You don't know, do you? You go out for a meal, you're fine for a few hours, and I don't eat on food carts on the street. I just don't eat on them. I do eat Thai food. If I had to guess, I think I don't want to name the restaurant because it's not fair on them, because it is a good restaurant and I ate a lot of meals in there, and it's really reasonably priced for Sukhumvit anyway. And it might have just been one dish that was a bit dodgy. I didn't have to have any injections or antibiotics and stuff. I was just, I had to be, let's keep it clean. I had to be very close to a loo for 48 hours, if you get what I mean. And it wasn't very pleasant, but I honestly don't know. But every time I go to Thailand, I have to take ammonium tablets, because your body, the food is so different to what we're used to that it automatically puts you into kind of, that you know what I'm talking about, right? Right, Franco, how are you doing? You out with us on Sunday? Yeah, possibly, Franco. Let me, yeah, possibly, yeah, probably, because I haven't got to worry about testing positive now. I'll call Ollie tomorrow and he'll let you know, I guess. I haven't got your number, by the way. Right, Poppycorn. Hi, nice to see you. Good to see you home and safe and sound, Peter. Have you planned your next trip? I'll talk about that because I've made a major decision while I was out there, and it's about retirement, and it's all going to happen really, really fast. Gary B71. Hi, what did you eat to get? Oh, well, I've answered that. Well, Marky Mark, how long before you retire in Thailand? I'll get into that in a minute, Mark. Ashley Hall, hi from Bournemouth, from Ash and Fatima. Fatima, that's a very Islamic name, that one. But hi anyway, I know Bournemouth well. I worked there in the 80s. Great town, Bournemouth. Andrew Jones, Thailand needs 3 MOVA tests to enter. Ross Cook, hi Peter from Perth, Australia. Thanks for your vibe updates for us. I was telling you about tomorrow's video, wasn't I? Yeah. So Bridge on the River Kwai. You've all seen the movie, haven't you? I watched a documentary that was made with some guys who actually, it was mainly Australian prisoners who built that bridge, but there was a lot of English, American, Dutch, and they used the locals as well. You know, they're very, very cruel back then. And so the actual movie was the documentary I watched. The movie, the guys who actually were on the bridge, the old timers now, talking about that movie when it came out. They said it was a great movie, very entertaining, but nothing like the real thing. You know, it wasn't factual. But the bridge that they built over the River Kwai, it is still standing. Trains still run across it. It's in a province. It's about 80 miles northwest of Bangkok, and they wanted to link Thailand to Burma. They wanted to go in the back. I won't name, you know what I'm talking about. They wanted to go in the back door of Burma, and they built this bridge over the River Kwai. But there's more to it than that, because people, when they think of the bridge on the River Kwai, they just think about the river and that bridge. But actually, that railway ran for miles and miles. And we drove 80 kilometers after that to a place that's called Hellfire Pass. And this is literally a mountain. And these guys dug through this mountain, you know, and I've got all the video footage that's coming. I'm going to release that tomorrow. So that's a real interesting video. And if you're into World War II as well, you'll enjoy that. The only downer was that the main museum at Hellfire Pass, it's run by the Australian government, and it's supposed to be very, very good. They run it really well, and it was closed because of the pandemic. So we couldn't actually get into that. The one that the Thais run, we got into that one, but there wasn't too much there. But the one that the Australians run, apparently that's very, very good. But we couldn't get in there. Okay, so hi to TGC 2450. I always go to the go-go bars for the air conditioning. I think everybody does. That one good thing about the go-go bars is the air conditioning. Somebody said to me, so let me talk. If I haven't said hi to you yet, I will try and come back and say hi to a few more people. But I need to get in to start talking about what's been going on. Let me just say hi to Andrew. Good evening, Peter. Hope you enjoyed Thailand. I'm looking to start traveling freely from about May onwards overland again, and hopefully arrive in Pattaya again in December. Yeah, good stuff, Andrew. Typical one from Paul Hoskin there. I like muffins. It's really hard to stop reading these. Good evening, Peter. Hope you had a good time in Thailand. Love your blogs. Love to all miss the country. Yeah, that's from Dave Andrew. Right, what should we talk about? Okay, what was it like? So, okay, you watch other people's vlogs, don't you? You know what's going on. Pattaya, I don't know. I think it's because of my age now. I've grown out of it. Some people love Pattaya. They swear by it. I don't want to slate it because I'll have other YouTubers saying, hey, don't say that. But for me personally, I'm 62 in April, and it just isn't me anymore. I mean, I've done it hundreds of times, and I've grown out of it. It's like you had a hobby, you get bored with it. Nothing wrong with the place itself. It's just not for me anymore. So I'm not really in a hurry to get back down there. Hua Hin and Chatham was really nice. But when you're out in Bangkok, I mean, it's so expensive around Sukhumvit. Now, I kept mentioning this throughout all the videos that I was making. I mean, how to say it? Let's just say they're trying to recuperate their losses, and they're not doing it by having happy hours or buy one, get one free. It's kind of like, well, we've lost all that money. We better up our prices. And it's just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But, there are bars open, and they're open till 11 o'clock now. When I got there, the bars were open to 11, and then they started restricting it down to 9 o'clock, which is a bit kind of nasty. And that, apparently it's back to 11 o'clock now. My personal feeling on it is I can't prove this. I can't give you any evidence or anything like that, but just the vibe I was getting. Because, I mean, the rules were changing by when I was there, the rules changed about 3 or 4 times while I was there. First, it was the bars are open at 11, then they're open at 9, then they're open at 11 o'clock. Then you had to pay 50 baht to get a mandatory test before you went into a bar that would last you for a couple of days. Then it wasn't mandatory. They changed it to, it's optional, but it will last for 3 days and you can go in any bar. So they keep changing things. But, because I've only just got back, I've been busy. I haven't been following up. That's why I haven't got anything prepared either. And they were having a meeting on last Friday because they're under so much pressure now because of Thais, they're suffering. and they want to open their businesses. They want tourists to come back. And they're just sick of it, absolutely sick of it. Everybody's sick of it, actually. And my personal feeling, if I was a betting man, if I had to guess, I don't think it. I think what will happen, and this is just my personal opinion, guys. All right, so I can't prove it. It's just what I think from being out there and the vibe I'm getting from there. I personally feel that it's not going to be much longer. I think what will happen is you'll have to show that you've had 2 PCR tests. 100%, you won't get in without that. You need 2 PCR tests, and they'll check that before you get on the aircraft. It was like the video I made when I came back the other day. Some people have said, oh, when you come to Heathrow, they don't check your paperwork. Well, they don't need to, because they check it in Bangkok. And if you don't have that test, or you don't, whatever, they keep changing. Some people say you don't need it now, but airlines say you do need it. I got it done just because I didn't want to, I wasn't going to take a chance, get to the airport. I've heard horror stories about people just about to board the aircraft and they didn't let them on because they only had it on their phone, or, it just silly things. So I didn't want to take a chance. People wrote to me and said, oh, you don't need to take a PCR test now to come back into Heathrow. But I didn't want to take a chance. But honestly, guys, my personal feelings at the moment, after being there for 5 weeks and talking with the Thais and the businesses and seeing what's going on with the government, honestly, a personal opinion, I don't think it's going to go on much longer. It can't go on much longer. It's crippling the country. And I would say, what we're now, February, I'd like to say by Songkran. I mean, I hope I'm not wrong, but I really think now, even over there, they're just getting fed up of it. And I mean, somebody asked me, what's it like now? You go into Nana, there's a few bars downstairs, but of course they're not allowed to open the go-go bars. And I'll tell you what it's like. The best way I can describe it, imagine you're 20 years old and you take your girlfriend to a fairground, a carnival, as they call them in America. You go in and there's all the rides. You've got the Ferris wheel and the Dodgems, bumper cars, whatever, and it's all there in front of you. But only 30% of it is open. And you're in there with your girlfriend. You think, oh, God, I went on that last year. That was so good fun. I wish I could go on it this year. All right, well, let's go over there. Oh, that's closed as well. Oh, well, let's go on that ride. Oh, that's closed. And there's a couple of rides in the middle that aren't as exciting, but you go on them because there's nothing else. That's kind of what it's like in Bangkok at the moment. There are bars open, but they're very, very expensive now, and they're taking the mick, basically. They really are taking the mick. I'll tell you where I started going, because I won't tell you exactly where I was staying, but I stopped going to Soi 4 because it's so expensive now. And I tell you where's a real happening Soi now is Soi 5, where the German beer garden is. They've moved all the bars from Soi 22 there, and it's got a complete complex of bars now. So you go down Soi 5 into an entrance there, and there must be 20, 25 bars in there, all the neon, and it's a completely new setup in there. But again, it isn't for me because it's loud music. It's really, I'm a bit uncomfortable in them sort of places now because of my age. I prefer something a bit more subdued, like a beer garden, for instance. But the other thing is, people ask me, they say, is it worth going now? Then it's all down to what you feel like, is it? For me personally, I did have a good time there, even though a lot of things went wrong. So, I tested positive, I self-isolated, and I got food poisoning. But did I have a good time? Yeah, of course I had a good time. I had a real good time. Simon's got a car. We went to Chatham. We went to all these places. So that was good. And I went out every night. Even when the bars close at 9, what happens is you go out at 4:30 and you have your first beer at 5 o'clock. And by the time it gets to 9 o'clock, they're still selling alcohol in 7-Eleven until midnight. So you finish. I went out at 5. I'd go and play pool in Soi 7/11. 7/1. So if you come out of, where Soi 8 is, you cross over there. And I think it's one more Soi. They've got a few good bars down there. You can go and have a game of pool. And I had a few drinks. And then I'd go back, I'd buy some drink from the 7-Eleven, some snacks as well. I watched Netflix, and it wasn't a problem at all. I quite enjoyed it. Okay, so let's see who else is in. Right. Daniel Mills, Peter, is it okay to send you YouTube links on the comment section? I sent a few to Ed Sweeney. What I thought is he would be interested in, and I've upset him. Well, what it is, Daniel, it's not that you'll upset me, but a lot of the time YouTube are kind of a bit funny like that. They don't like, they class it as spam. So if you send links into the comments, they might automatically block them. It's like comments, when sometimes people will leave comments on a video. Just say I made a video about bars close at 9 o'clock, and someone seen a bar that's open at 10 and they get a video and they'll leave a comment and say, oh, I was in this soy at this time, 10 o'clock, and these bars was open. Here's the video. Well, that automatically gets placed into hold. It won't go up on the comments because YouTube automatically block all comments that have got links to URLs in. So it's probably better if you don't send it to me. You can send it to me in an email address if you just want me to have a look at it, but it will probably automatically block on here. I don't know, because I've never actually seen a link be sent on the comments here, so they probably won't go through anyway. Let's see if we can find some questions. Okay, so let's do this one now. Marky Mark, I'm guessing that you made a decision to retire in Thailand permanently. Yeah. If you just joined us, guys, nice to see you. There's 477 in now. If you have just joined us, I haven't prepared anything. I'm just talking about my last trip. Right. Yeah, I've made a major decision now, guys. Like a lot of people have said to me in the past, what are you going to do? You're going to retire in Thailand, or you're going to stay in the UK and go and visit? And originally, for the last 2 years, what I've been saying is I'm going to buy a smaller place, sell this house where I am, buy a smaller place, finish my contract with the council. I'm self-employed and I don't want to do that anymore. And then I said, what I'll do is I'll spend maybe 3 to 4 months a year in Thailand, have 2 or 3 trips, but I'll have a boat hole here in the UK, and that's all out the window now. And I'll tell you why, because I just forgot how good Thailand is. It's really hard to explain, but if you're a regular travel to Thailand, I mean, it's like, you know, I live in a market town here, so I mean, I'm not living in central London, and there's nothing to do. You know, it's like I've got a routine. I get up, I do a little bit of work for the council, I come home, I work on my YouTube videos, I go out for an hour in the afternoon again, I'll come back, I'll have my dinner, I'll walk my dog, I'll have a shower, watch Netflix, and it's the same every day. Weekend, you struggle to find something to do. And you know, I was in Thailand just now, and it's like, I know I was on holiday, I was on vacation, so it's not the same as living there. But you know, I have lived in Thailand for a lot of years, so I know what it's like to live there, and I know what it's like to be there as a 2-week millionaire. It's totally different, right? But it's just lots of little things made me decide. You know, I mean, it's like you come out of your hotel at 9, 10 o'clock at night. Even if you didn't want to go to bars, you're not going to go to bars every night. You can jump on the back of a motorbike and go to Terminal 21 and spend an hour or two looking around Terminal 21 at 10 o'clock at night. You know, you can go to Fortune IT Mall and look at all the electrical equipment in the evening. There's so many places to go out and eat and drink, and so much to do, and the weather's nice. You know, they got you join a gym around here, you won't get on a piece of equipment because there's just so many people subscribed to that gym. You know, you're kind of in there. I was a member of a gym here years ago, and I gave it up because I could never get on the treadmills, and that's all I joined for. I want to go on the treadmills. You know what it's like in Bangkok. They got gyms everywhere. They're a couple of $1,000 baht a month to be a member. They're really good 5-star gyms. You know, everywhere you live, there's swimming pools, there's facilities, there's a 7-Eleven downstairs. And, you know, I put some serious thought into it when I was there. And I just thought, you know what? I'm 62. How many more good years have I got? 5, 10, 20 if I'm lucky. And I thought, you know, I'm dead in the UK. I don't want to be here. I've got 2 daughters. One's got her own business now. The other one goes to Birmingham University. I've done what I was put on the earth for, haven't I? I've reproduced, and they've grown up. I've done my job now. So, yeah, I'm going to retire, and it's going to happen pretty quickly. So my biggest hurdle, my biggest obstacle is I've got, when I was young, I worked real hard, and I've got a few smaller kind of cluster homes. I mean, I'm not a big property tycoon, nothing like that, but I've got 1 or 2 smaller cluster homes that I've bought. They're on mortgages, so I still have to pay a mortgage, but they are mine. I do get a little bit of rent out of them. Now, one of them, I don't want to get into real details here because it's quite personal, but one of them, I've got to give the guys notice and get him out. And I know he's been there for a long time, and I know he's going to dig his heels in. It could take 18 months to get him out. And I can't sell my house till I get him out. It's quite complicated. It's all tied in together. But that won't stop me going to Thailand. It just means it won't be a clean break for now. But if everything went to plan, my contract with the county council finishes in July, this July. So that's about 6 months' time. And if it wasn't for that tenant, I would be on a plane. I'll be gone. That's it. Finished. Sell this house, sell everything I got. And you don't take anything to Thailand. There's no point. You take your personal clothes, a few personal effects, and that's it. And I tell you what, guys, you might not believe this. I've actually found an apartment. The actual apartment that I found is, I'm not going to tell you exactly where it is, but it's between Soi 4 and Asok. It's one of the Sois, okay? And it's got 1 bedroom. It's got a bathroom, a little balcony. It's a real nice apartment, 20,000 baht a month, and you pay the government rate of electricity. I think it's 3.5 baht at the moment. They don't hike up the units like some apartment buildings do. But that particular apartment won't. I went apartment looking. I spent a few days looking for apartments. Now that apartment obviously will be gone in 6 months' time, but they have lots of apartments in there. I think he said they got 70 and 20 were empty. So yeah, I'm going to go for it, guys. I'm going to go for it. I just don't see the point in staying in the UK anymore. I'm not rich, but if I do everything properly, I should be on about. I think I'll be on about 100,000 baht a month, and I think if you're careful, you can live quite well on that. My partying days are out the window. I mean, I'm not into sort of go-go bars and that anymore, but okay. Right, Nick Frankel, Thailand will add years over your life. Anyone who goes out there looks so much more healthier and happier. Yeah, some. Do you know what makes me laugh is there's so many guys who go out to, especially Pattaya, they go out there and they dye their hair, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I thought about putting a bit of dye on, when I go out there. Why not? I thought about it, but let me just get this super chat because I want to tell you something quite funny that you'll see if you go out there. Blimey, I didn't realize there's so many comments there. Right, who's that? Michael Rajpal. Did you see any Chinese tourists? I feel once they return, that's when we'll know COVID is behind it. No, I didn't. That's really weird at the moment. There's a lot of Europeans. There's a lot of Americans in Thailand at the moment, but there's no Chinese whatsoever. I mean, I met one Chinese guy in Pattaya. He's got a business there. But, the groups that you normally get, there's no Chinese, there's no Indians, there's no Russians. When I say no, of course, you've got a few Russians live there. You've got Indian tailors that they've always had. But the groups, the tours, they're not there at the moment. So, no, there's none of them. What else we've got? Mike Hunt there. I'll have to comply with that. I hope you don't look like that, really, Michael. You'll scare those bar girls to death. Agree, Peter. I returned after a month and now want to at least be there 4 to 5 months. Lovely country, much more than the Pattaya and Bangkok. I love Chiang Mai, where you would stay there. Yeah, Chiang Mai, actually, Michael, who I've done a couple of videos with, he went up to Chiang Mai, and he said, the roads are so good, it's so quiet now. And again, Michael was saying he's outside Chiang Mai in the countryside, but Chiang Mai itself, it was always packed with Chinese tourists, coachload after coachload. Well, they're not there, so it's real quiet up there at the moment. If I've missed your comments, guys, apologies, but there's just so much coming in at the moment. I've got 551 in the chat. Ving, I won't even try to pronounce that. Have you any idea why the Thailand government will handle the pandemic as they are? I mean, here in Denmark, many are scared to go to Thailand because they feel treated a lot different. Yeah, I mean, that's actually a bolder contention. People feel like they're getting treated as second-class citizens when they go out there. I mean, they're not doing it in purpose because they hate foreigners. I'd like to think that anyway. I mean, they're trying to protect the country, aren't they? But I think they've basically lost control of it now, because you know what happened. I'm going to tell you a story now, horror story. You won't believe it. I didn't believe it. I had to bite my lip when the guy told me this, because I was quite angry when he told me, but I had to, kind of walk away. But I'll keep you hanging on that one for a minute. You know what happened to me? I tested. I mean, everybody thinks if you test positive, that's it, bang, off to hospital. That's not what happens. It's happened to some people, but so many people are getting it now because it's not that. I'm not a doctor, right? I'm just giving you an opinion before you start leaving them, where's your qualifications comments. So many people get it now, and I think they've lost control of it a bit. And a lot of people, they're just saying, don't leave your room, and there's no follow-up. And I met this guy in the airport, and this is true story, guys. Now, you know what happened to me. I had to leave the hotel because I got positive. I walked to another hotel and I self-isolated. Okay, some people said, well, you didn't do it the proper way. You should have gone to hospital, but they didn't ask me. I contacted the hospital. I'm going over old ground now, but I tried to do the responsible thing. I didn't let the cleaners in my room. I had food delivered from Grab, and I stayed 7 days. And I bought a whole bunch of these. I've still got one left, look. And I tested myself every day. And one day it came up very faint, and I still stayed in the room. And the next day it was completely gone, just one line. And then I knew I was clear, and I went out about my business. And I basically, I self-isolated. So I met this guy in the airport in Heathrow, and I don't know what sorry, not Heathrow, in Bangkok. I don't know what they're doing out there at the moment, because all the cafes and shops are all closed, they're all boarded up. And there was one kind of place where you could buy a beer, and it was bottled beers, and the queue was so long. I am getting to the point, guys, so stay with me. The queue was so long that when I got to the counter, I said, can I have 2 beers? And they give me 2 glasses. And it's only for me, because I didn't want to queue up again. Anyway, I got talking to this guy, And I told him my story about testing positive, and I said, look, you know, I know it's not quite right, but I tried to do the right thing. I self-isolated, didn't let the staff in the room. I had food delivered, and I think I did the right thing. And I went for a walk in the evening down a really quiet soil where there was no one, all marched up in the middle of the road, so I didn't bump into anybody late at night. And he said to me, this guy told me this, and I'm not exaggerating this at all. He said to me, well, I stayed in Paris. He said, I went for a test, and yeah, I was positive, and they just told me to go back to the hotel and stay in the room. And I said, is that what you did? You went back to the room, and did you tell the hotel? He says, no, I didn't bother. I just went out. So this guy tested positive, and he went out to all the bars in Soy Bacau and Tree Town, and you know, them bars. I mean, I was there a few weeks ago, and you're basically shoulder to shoulder. You're packed, and people aren't wearing masks. I wasn't wearing a mask in there. Maybe that's how I got it. No, I probably didn't get it in there because I got it about 2 weeks after I left Pattaya. But this guy, you know, this guy, he got positive, and he's just didn't care. I've got it, so it doesn't matter. Let me just say a couple of super chats there. So there's one from Michael. Did you see? Okay, I've done that one. There's another one. There's that Carl. Let me try and get that up on the screen. Right, Carl D. Would you recommend 3 weeks in April for Farang? Yeah, I'd recommend a day in Bangkok. It's a fantastic place, Carl. But the problem is, I got some flack on this. Look, you know, I was saying, like, and I said this, you know, when I come in the taxi with Apple, I don't know if you've seen that video, when it was called the worst thing about Thailand. People said it was clickbait, but it wasn't. In my opinion, that is the worst thing about Thailand, having to, you know, when you go to the airport and you hear that cattle grid, and you know you're getting close to the airport and you're going to be on that plane. That's the worst thing about Thailand, isn't it? You have to leave. And who sent that now? Checkbound. Is that? Let me just put that one up. Congratulations on the decision, Peter. Now the decision is made. The fun begins. Tenants, mortgages, etc. are just part of the process. The end result will be a new life. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, look, change the subject a little bit here. This might sound really corny, and I don't blame you for thinking it's corny, but this is how I feel, right? When I'm here in the UK, I feel like I'm dead, honestly, and that's a big statement to make, but I really do. And the reason for that is I've got nothing to look forward to. Yeah, I've got a nice family. I've got my girls; they're doing well. You know, my daughter's moved out. My eldest daughter, she lives out now with her boyfriend. That's it. You know, she's got her business. She does makeup and stuff. So she's sitting pretty. My youngest is in Birmingham University. She finishes this year, but she's got a job and she'll go full time when she finishes that. But, you know, the reason I feel dead here is because there's nothing to look forward to. You know, the best you can hope for is a beer and Netflix. And you just don't. I'm 62. I can't go out to a nightclub. I can't. There's nothing to do, right? I mean, okay, there's people who go and play golf. There's people who, you know, you have hobbies, you go fishing, and I'm not into any of that. And the thing is, why I made the decision is when I was in Thailand, I felt alive again. You know, I felt a purpose. I know it sounds really corny what I'm saying, but it does. At 62, you think, well, I've had my life, my kids are grown up, just get on with it now. It's TV every night, but it's not enough. You know, I want more out of life than that. And when I was in Thailand, I felt like I was alive. You know, I was out on the Sky Train, I was visiting malls, and you know, it wasn't I was on holiday and that, you know, that bubble's going to burst. I really, you know, I just feel completely different over there. If you can relate to that, great. If you can't, then, you know, let's change the subject. Right. Crypto Chris card, 2,000 baht is less than 50 quid. It's about 50 quid, actually. Yeah, you're not far off there. Okay, let me go back onto some of these older comments here. Right, Danish Bacon. Peter, please tell your story of your trip one day in the style of the stories that are sent in to you. Remember to change the name. Peter, please tell your story. Yeah, but which story? Because I haven't really got any exciting stories. You're talking about bar girl meets Farang dives off balcony or something like that. Don't forget, I was married. I've been married for 31 years. My wife's from Korea, so she was in Thailand with me a lot of the time. So I've not really, you know, most of my stories are other people. Right, Mark, FFS, Pete, you lost your marbles. No, I haven't lost my marbles, Mark. I'm perfectly sane. I've just decided that I want to go and live in Thailand. I've got no reason to be here. I've got no holds. I'm quite comfortable. Why would I want to stay here? Right, Black Bolt. Thank you, mate, for that. I appreciate that. I'll tell you what I'm going to do now. I'm going to grab a beer. We'll what's the time? Because if I don't go now, what will happen is I forget and they freeze over. So let me, Black Bolt, you're a gentleman. Thank you for that. So let me just put a card up. If you're drinking something tonight, now's the time to get it. I wish I had a joke of the week. I haven't got it. I wish I had a joke of the week just so I could do this. She's actually Japanese. She's not Thai, but I couldn't find a Thai girl who laughs. All right, let me put this up, and I'll just go and grab the beers and the 7-Up, and I'll be back in about 1 minute. 583 in the stream. I hope I don't lose too many now. Oh, I'm back. Always amazes me that, you know, that picture, the guy's actually in a urinal. You know, how disgusting is that? I mean, obviously he's really, look, obviously he's really drunk and he's falling into that. But Jesus, what a state you have to be in to fall into a urinal and to actually sleep in it as well. Right, where are we? Let's have a look. Shane. Hi, mate. Is your wife as keen as you are to relocate to Thailand, or did she need to be persuaded? That's another story. I'll tell you more about that, guys, when the time's right. I don't want to get too personal at the moment. I can't give away too much at the moment. Right, till it hurts. I often see you in Ed's stream as well. No squeaky doors like Ed. Peter has lift music. Yeah, when I got that card, I thought I wanted to try and find the most boring music, and I think I've achieved that with that one. Okay, let's see what else we say. Stephen J. Austin. In the UK, do the husbands make unilateral decision, or is the wife involved? Okay, so again, it's kind of like what I just spoke about. I don't want to mention too much. Paul, always good to get a comment from you. The bar girls laugh like that when they see me. Okay, right. Let me look what I've got here. Look, Kronenbergs. They don't have this in Thailand. What would I drink? I tend to drink Leo in Thailand. The Chang. It used to be 8.5%, and it says on the Chang bottle now it's 5%. So I started drinking Chang again. I thought, well, you know, I can't go out and drink 8.5% beer because one or two beers and I'll be actually drunk. And but somebody was telling me that although it says 5%, it's still actually 8.5% because something to do with the numbers. And I can't actually talk about the reason I know, but let's just say somebody very high up in Thai society, if that you get my drift. You're not allowed to change those numbers. And I believe it, because when I drink Chang beer, I can't drink many of them before I get, you know, I feel drunk quite quickly. So, and I'm not really keen on Singer beer. It tastes very chemical. It tastes like a lot of chemical in it. So I've never really taken to that. So yeah, Leo beer seems to be pretty okay. It doesn't get you drunk too quickly. It's quite nice, quite like a European beer. So, right, first one of the night, guys. Cheers. I've still got memories of that 5-hour stream I did with Ed Sweeney. Do you remember that? I went on his, and then he came on here, and it wasn't rehearsed. I had a beer, and I cheers, and he happened cheers at the same time, and it was great. And we just, because we were enjoying talking, you guys were in. I mean, it went on for just under 5 hours, live stream for 5 hours, unbelievable. Okay, let's see what else we've got going on here. I can't pronounce your name there, but would raising elephants be a visible business in Thailand? They do have an animal. I don't know about raising elephant. What you got to remember about Thailand is a lot of people, like, you know, Simon, who sometimes does videos with me. He's got a factory in the center of Bangkok where they convert containers into toilet blocks, office blocks, that sort of thing. And he'll often get people right and say, oh, you know, I'm a welder or I'm an engineer. you know, do you need anybody? And Simon will answer the same question, the same answer. He'll just say, yeah, if you want to work on Thai wages, you know, if you want to earn like £250 a month, that's what a Thai welder will earn, around that. And of course, he never hears from them again. So I can't really answer it, to be honest. I'll put it back on screen again there. I don't think so. No, I don't think it's something. I'm just guessing now. I don't think it's something that would. There must be some quite strict laws where elephants are involved. I remember they used to have elephants walking through the city, and you could buy a banana and feed them. They banned all that now. Thank heavens, it's quite cruel. Sorry, I can't be a bit more informative on that one, but I honestly don't know. Right, 20 Rothmans. Eric Whitford, I agree that it's nicer here, but you might want to have a look first. Yeah. With my decision to move out to Thailand, to retire out to Thailand, it's not just a willy-nilly, like overnight, oh, I'll do it. You know, I know Thailand very, very well. I've spent many years going out there, and I know what's going to be involved. I have lived out there before, so it's not like I've just kind of gone in blind and thought, well, I'll move out there, and you know, I do have the experience. So, right, Damon, wee in the garden time. Yeah, how did you guess? Let's have another drink of this. Okay, who else we got? Cowboy Vic episodes. I bet he smells of roses. Yeah. All right. Yeah, if you just joined us, guys, welcome into the first stream from the UK again. Right, Paul Henry, 22 years here from America. Okay, Paul, nice to have you in. David Waters, we only get one life, Peter. Why spend it in a place in the UK you don't enjoy? Yeah, absolutely, David. I hate that slogan. You know, in the UK, there's a lot of people who drive Land Rovers, and when this slogan first came out, it was quite cool, but it's kind of overdone now. And you'll see the sticker, "One life, live it." It's so overdone now. But no, to what you're saying, Dave. Yeah, I mean, it's not like I'm jumping into an unknown. It's not like I'm going to go backpacking through the Amazon forest, though some people might like to do that. You know, I know Thailand very well. I know what it's about. I've spent a lot of time there. I know what I'm doing here. I'm not going to go out there and try and live on 20,000 baht a month, am I? So, you know, and at the end of the day, don't forget, if I make that decision and I go out to Thailand to live, and for some reason I get sick, or you know, I decide it's not for me, I want to come back again, I'll just jump on a plane and come back. I mean, I've got some assets here, so I'm not like putting all my eggs in one basket, as it were. And I'll do it properly this time. You know, I'll get insurance. I've always had this cavalier attitude that I'm quite healthy. I don't need any insurance, but I was young then. But obviously I'm 62 in April, so I'll get the proper insurance, and I'll do everything properly, and I'll make sure I do my budget before I go out there. I know the costs. I know everything that's out there. You know, I know to factor in costs for visas. I'll get a work permit while I'm out there. Somebody can help me with that. I know where I can get that done. The only reason I'm going to get a work permit is because they're really strict on it now. If I go out on a retirement visa and I'm making YouTube videos, and someone says, well, that guy's working because he earns money on YouTube because he's making videos, well, I could get thrown out the country. That's what happened in Phuket a number of years ago to the there was dive centers, and all the guys who were running these dive centers in Phuket were they're on tourist visas or retirement visas, or they did in those days. You could do border hopping, so you could get in a car and drive up to Cambodia and then hop over the border, come back, and you got another month or however long it was. And but that's a lot harder to do now, because they're kind of bringing in rules where you can only do it twice for 3 months out of a year. You used to could do it continually. There were guys in Thailand for years who were never on any proper visas. They were on tourist. They're not even visas, are they? They're what do they call them? Exempt, visa exempt is a tourist thing, isn't it? And there's guys out there. But what happened? One of the guys who ran a dive center, he peed somebody off, some local official. They looked into his paperwork, found out he was on some kind of tourist visa, and they shut him down. And then they do what they always do, the boys in brown. They said, right, well, we'll go and have a look at all the other dive shops, and they closed loads of them, all these diving shops. So I think that could happen to YouTubers in Thailand one day, because, you know, there's some quite outspoken people. I'm very, very careful. Some people say to me that I'm too careful, you know, what I say, but, you know, I'm going back to Thailand, so I don't want to put my foot in it. But there are some very outspoken people in Thailand at the moment. I've watched their YouTube channels, and, you know, you only need one of them to cheese off a local official, get under somebody's skin, and that guy is somebody, and he'll say, right, well, let's go and have a look at this guy, what he's doing here. You know, he's got a YouTube channel, he's obviously working. Let's see his paperwork. You know, and when they find out he's on a tourist visa and they blacklist him and they throw him out of the country, that's when they say, well, let's look at all the other YouTubers then. So for me, it's really, really important to get a work permit, which I will get one. I'll have to pay tax every month, and I'll have to go to the police station, get my photograph taken, all the rest of it. But I'm going to do it because I do not take chances. And if I retire in Thailand, I'm not going to get thrown out for not having the right paperwork. Okay, Carl, good luck. I go Pattaya, Thailand in 11 days for holiday. Maybe I will think same as you. We wait to see. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Carl, that's what I was going to say earlier. And somebody put up a super chat and I forgot what I was saying. But I kind of expressed an opinion about whether you should go out. And I'm going to say it again now. I kind of expressed an opinion about going out there. People were saying, well, do you think it's worth going out for 3 weeks, 4 weeks? And I'll tell you what I said. And I had a couple of people in Thailand who got YouTube channels came back at me and they were like, oh, well, you're negative. What did you come out to Thailand for? And, you know, you shouldn't, you're putting people off. And it wasn't that. I wasn't trying to be negative. I wasn't putting people off. I was just saying it as I see it. And this is how I see it, right? So if you want to go out to Thailand for 3 weeks or a month and have a good time, there's plenty to do. When you get there, if you're looking for female company, you'll find female company. Plenty about, right? If you want to go out to drink every night, you'll go out and you'll drink every night. You want to go for massages, you'll get massages. You'll get everything except the go-go bars are closed. So it's not like you'll go out to Thailand and you won't have a good time. You will. You will have a good time. But what I kept saying was you've got this constant dark cloud over you of testing positive. And it's like I said, the first day you get there, you know, they pick you up at the airport in a van, which is screened off. They take you to a hospital. Before anything, you get this thing shoved up your nose. They take you to your hotel. I was in the Holiday Inn on Soy 11. And, you know, it was in the morning and I went to sleep and I woke up and I thought, well, I'll be getting my results now. I don't think I'll be next. But you don't know. Now, if you get found positive on that first day, that's it. All bets are off. You're 10 days in that room, and you might even go to hospital and get a huge bill. Yes, you've got insurance, but, you know, you've just landed and you can find to a hospital room for 10 days. Luckily, that didn't happen to me, right? So what I'm trying to say to you, you've got this cloud over you, right? Okay, I'm here to have a good time. But it's niggling away at you, you know. And it's like, well, I've got another one in 7. They give you this plastic lateral flow test. And it's the same thing, you know. You forget about it. Hang on. They give you this lateral flow test. And they say when you've been there 6 or 7 days, you've got to take it again. But the thing is, they don't tell you what to do with it. Like everybody I know who had this, you know, after their first night, they get this plastic test. Now, you test yourself because you want to know. You think, well, I've been here a week. Am I? Mine was negative. But there's no instructions. They don't say, well, when you've tested yourself, take a photograph and send it here, or put it in this adhesive envelope and post it there, or drop it off. They just give you this kit, and nobody sends it anywhere. I mean, I did mine, and I took a photograph of it, and that was it for myself. So if somebody came to me, I'd say, well, there's a photograph. You can look at the data in the photograph, and it will give you the date and the time the photograph was taken. So I could say, well, look, I took this photograph on 7 days after I arrived, negative. There you go. Nobody asked me anything. Nobody told me where to send it. So, you know, so let's just say you get through that one again. Then it's time for you to get on the aeroplane. So you've done your money in, most of your money. You've had a good time. You're ready to come back. You know what it's like. You're geared up. You said your goodbyes. You're flying tomorrow. You go to the hospital today and you test positive. That's what happened to me. So what I'm trying to say to you, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not trying to put you off, but you've got to remember, if you're going to go there and you're going there for a good time for a few weeks, you've got this dark cloud following you around. Now, you might be one of these people who think, I don't care. I won't give it a second thought, but I'm not. I couldn't stop thinking about it. It's just, you know, you think, well, if I get positive, and I know I got positive. So, you know, like I say, if you're thinking of going, just go for it. I mean, you can't, you know, that's what happened to me in the end. You know, somebody said, Peter, grow a pair. And I thought, why not? And I booked the ticket. I went. I'm now back in the UK. Yes, it wasn't a perfect trip. Yes, I got food poisoning. Yes, I tested positive. But at the end of the day, I had 3 weeks in the sun, walking along Pattaya Beach. I was out in Tree Town, Soy Bakau. I met some wonderful people while I was out there. And I'm not exaggerating there. When I went down to Pattaya, Trevor came over to my hotel. He took me out that evening. He introduced me to probably 30 people. You know, I met all the YouTubers in Pattaya. I met that Ride for Kicks guy. I forget his name. I met Brian Flowers. He's quite a tall bloke, actually. I met Nick Dean from NDTV. I mean, there was a whole group of them in there. you know, so I wouldn't have met them if I hadn't gone there, right? You know, and I had that nice road trip to Charm with Simon and Jorge, and I went out to the bars. So I did have a good time. So if you're sort of thinking, shan't I, you know, just go for it. What's the worst that could happen, right? If you get, you know, 7 days, and you just have to do it. Right. Adam, hi, Peter. A guy died at 62 of a heart attack. Thanks for cheering me up tonight. Because the Philippines sent him to the wrong hospital. Any concern about the healthcare system in Thailand? And what's a good plan? No, absolutely not. And I'll tell you why. Thailand is fantastic. It's a business, right? Hospitals, dentists, all that sort of thing. It's a business. You have to pay for it, but it's not overly. You can get insurance. AXA, they're supposed to be very, very good. Somebody sent me a receipt tonight. He tested positive. I've got the receipt in my email. Somebody went to Thailand. They tested positive. He actually went to hospital, and the bill was 230,000 baht. He showed me the receipt. AXA. I've got no ties to AXA. I'm getting no kickbacks or anything. I'm just going from what this guy said. They paid. He didn't even have to pay up front. AXA paid his bill, and he was fine. So no, I mean, if you get good healthcare insurance, the hospitals are really, really good in Thailand. The Bangkok hospital, that's all over Thailand. That's a brand. They're very, very good. I had my teeth cleaned while I was there because they're a bit dark on the bottom, and I thought I had dirty teeth, but they're not, and I'll tell you why. So I went. You know, and it's like here in the UK, if you want a dentist appointment, you have to keep calling them up and pleading with them and over exaggerating, saying you're in pain just to get in. And, you know, and I've been trying to get my teeth clean for ages. But in Bangkok, I looked on Google Maps, dentist. Okay, there's 1-2 streets away. I went in and I said, oh, can I get my teeth cleaned? And she says, hang on. She went and spoke to the dentist. She says, can you come back in half an hour? I was like, yeah, no problem. How much is it? She said, well, it's between 900 baht and 1,500 baht. Depends what you want. So I went in, she got the old drill going, and she cleaned all the teeth. She said, oh, I recommend you have this air jet. And I said, well, how can that clean air jet? And she said, oh, you'd be surprised. It's like a fine line of air, but I think there's some silicone stuff in it. Anyway, they blow that. And the whole lot, everything. I was in there for a good hour, and my teeth have come up really good. £30. I mean, you can't complain at that, can you? So £30 to get my teeth clean. Now, they're a bit dark at the bottom, and I wanted to get rid of this gap that I've had all my life. So I said to her, well, how come they're still dark at the bottom? And she said, well, that's not dirt. What it is, because of my age, my gums have receded, and you can actually see the root through the white of the teeth. So she said to me, when you come back, 20,000 baht, you know, you can get them all veneered, or you can get a bridge, and it'll look really, really nice. So that's what I'm going to do. But in answer to your question, Adam, no, I mean, if you go to Thailand, you get the right insurance, you'll be fine. You know, it's really, really good. Okay, Chris Winders, Peter, I'm with you. I live in Hua Hin and felt exactly the same as you, as your life stops at the rumble in the taxi. Thailand is easy going. Even putting the woman to one side of life for a 40-plus guy in the UK is dead. I know it sounds a bit depressing, Chris, and I know, you know, some people will be watching this thinking, Jesus, this guy's, you know, he's got one foot in the grave. But it really, you know, when you're in Thailand, you just feel totally different. I don't feel like I'm 62 when I'm in Thailand. I feel like I'm 32. I might be living in an illusion, but I'm happy. You know, I'm not particularly depressed here or anything like that. I'm not a manic depressive, but it's just, you know, you live your day on a day-to-day basis, and there's nothing really. You don't wake up in the morning and think, right, I'm going to go out and do this today. Not I don't anyway. I mean, I've met people around here who said, "Oh, I wouldn't go to Thailand. It's all spicy food and too hot. It wouldn't suit me." Like, all right, right, Dewey. Hello, Peter. You said before you'll be married to a Korean or were married. I'm confused. There's nothing to be confused about. I am still married. I've been with her for 31 years. She lived with me in Thailand. Sometimes she goes to her country. Sometimes I go to Thailand by myself. That's it. Right, Graham. I am 70 years old, and I hope to ride a motorcycle from Bangkok to. Is that Phnom Penh? Okay, Cambodia, I think it is, next year when the land borders open. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Michael, who does the videos with me sometimes, he rode all over Thailand, and the roads at night, you just don't see the traffic like you do in Europe and America and Australia. He was saying, like, you know, he was riding at night. You got Google Maps, you get one of these things that you strap to your handlebar, and you can go anywhere you want to, can't you, with sat nav? When I retire, when I'm in Bangkok, I'm going to buy a little step through off Facebook Marketplace. I won't buy a new one, you know, Honda Click, something like that, and I'll just use it for getting around locally. I won't go on the highway with it. Darcy, guys, please stop talking about Peter's wife. He's answered the question. Give you a head as well. Okay, Darcy, thanks for your support there. Paul Hoskins says, I drink Chang. Yeah. Do you find it quite strong, Paul, or not? I find it very strong. Right. Max says the aftertaste is disgusting. Is that of the Chang or the other one? I'm quite pleased with that. There's over 600 people in the stream there. So, guys, if you know this trip I've been on, if there's anything you want to know at all, anything you want to ask me, if it's personal, I just won't answer it. But if there's anything you want to know, ask me here, and I will. This is the time to discuss it now. We've been going for an hour, so we'll still early days. Damien, the daffodils will be up soon. Glad you're watering them and giving them a head start. Well, it's got to be done, Damien, has it? Got to be done. I should be okay now till the end of the stream. Right. Do you speak Korean or Thai? Yeah, my Thai is not too bad. I don't speak any Korean. When I lived there with my wife in the late 80s, I knew the odd word, as you do. My Thai is not bad. It's not. I don't like to say I speak Thai. I can say a lot of words, and I can string a few sentences together. So when I'm there, I can say enough to get by on. And there's Google Translate as well if you get stuck. I don't like garlic for whatever reason. I love onions, but I've never got on with garlic. So wherever I go, the Thais use a lot of garlic, don't they? So when I order my food, I have to order it in and speak in Thai to tell them I don't want any garlic. I said, Mao Gatiam. I don't want any garlic, thanks. I know the pronunciation is probably terrible if any Thai people watch this, but they always understand. I can tell a taxi driver, go left, go right, forward, stop. How much is it? I can do all the food in Thai. I can do enough. You can always do better, can't you? If I go out there, I'm actually going to do a language course because you can do online language courses now. I found one which is about $100. It's called Learn Thai by a white guy or a Farang guy, and it's a very good course. And how he does it is you learn to read it first before you learn to speak it. And what happens when you look at a Thai sign, it just looks like a lot of, it looks a mess. There's all squiggles. But I did the first part of his course because it was free just to have a look. And what he does, he'll get a Thai letter and he'll say, right, this is a chicken, because the shape of it is like a U with a bit that goes off. And so he'll say, remember that as a chicken. And another bit, he'll say, this is I can't think of an example, but you relate it to certain things. And then they'll put 3 out and they'll say, right, which one is a chicken? And that's how it's done. And eventually when you learn to read it, apparently it's easier to actually speak the language. When I went down to Patian, I was speaking to Trevor, because Trevor apparently speaks very good Thai, and he said the same to me. He said when he went to school to learn Thai in Thailand, they said to him, right, you need to learn to write it first, and then we'll teach you to speak it. And Trevor was like, nah, sod that. I want to just get on and speak it. And Trevor said to me, he said, I wasted a year. He said, because I just didn't get it. He says, once I went back and I learned to read it, then the actual speaking of it became a lot easier. So, he's done it and he speaks Thai. So I'll take his word for it. Right. Mike Hunt. That's a picture and a half. That is, Mike. If I bumped into you after a few beers walking down Soy 4 and you look like that, I would shit my pants. I really would. I'm surprised that you plan to stay in Bangkok. Why not Hua Hin or Chatham or Pattaya for that matter? Yeah, that's actually a good question, Mike. I've got quite a good answer for it. No, okay. So if I wasn't, I've got to think of a long-term strategy for YouTube, because I for the 2 years that I've been here, I kept thinking, God, I wish I could go to Thailand. I could make so many videos, and I did. I made a lot of videos. I did boots on the ground. I did Chatham beaches. I did a lot. But you get to a point where you think, oh, what do I film next? Because you can't just. You've got to make videos interesting, haven't you? Like tomorrow's video that I'm going to release on Bridge on the River Kwai. That's a great video that I've done. Quite proud of that one, actually. But you've got to I don't know if you've seen the one I did with Bangkok Pat. His videos are fantastic. They really are. They're like documentaries. And I interviewed Bangkok Pat when I was there, and he's actually interviewed me, so he'll release that in a few weeks. But I interviewed him, and this is what he was saying on his when I interviewed him. Pat said the same thing. He said, look, it's all right turning. I am answering your question, Mike. I'm just going a long way to get to the point, okay? Because we've got time. So it's like Bangkok Pat said, it's all right making videos, but they've got to be interesting, because you can't just walk down the street and say, well, here I am, and there's a klong, and there's an apartment building, and I'm in Bangkok, and please watch my video. People think this is crap, and they'll leave. So they've got to be fairly interested. And there's only so many times you can walk down Soy 4 and say, oh, that's closed and that's still open and Hooters is still good. So I've got to come up with a strategy. And I don't want to give you my strategy here because it's at the end of the day, it's business now, isn't it? You know, I'm making some money out of YouTube, not big money, but I am starting to make a little bit. I haven't got a lot of subscribers like some people, but I'm starting to get there a little bit. And thanks to all you guys, obviously, if you subscribe. So my strategy is I've got to be in Bangkok because what I want to do, it won't work in Hua Hin or Chatham because you're in a bubble, you're out of it. This is what Simon told me as well. He used to run a hotel in Phuket, and you get into this bubble and you get to know everybody and everybody gets to know you. And when you get to Bangkok, you think, wow, there's so much more going on here. So if it was just down to me personally where I wanted to live, yeah, probably pick Chatham. But because I've got to really kind of rely on YouTube up to a point to make some money as well, it will help. I'm not going to rely on YouTube to make a living, but anything helps, doesn't it? So really, I need to be in Bangkok because I've got a strategy, the direction my channel is going to go. And while I'm when I'm in Thailand, I can actually I can follow that strategy. I've got that strategy, and I spoke to Trevor as well. He gave me a little bit of advice on how the direction I should be going, really, as far as if I'm living in Thailand, because he knows I'm coming out there. And actually, Trevor and I, we might collaborate because Trevor's in Pattaya and I'm in Bangkok. I'm going to be in Bangkok full time, so we might collaborate and kind of, you know, meet up and do some stuff together. That's what he was talking about. Okay, Michael, thanks for that. It's cheesy, but fill your passport, not your home. It's a quote I live by. Traveling has fulfilled me more than owning a home or the usual goals. Yeah, but okay, Michael, I agree with you. But when you've got a family, you've got to have a home. You've got to have a base. You can't take your family. You know, you've got to basically have a base. I'll tell you what. When I was in Thailand, I missed the Sprite, you know. I always put a bit of Sprite on the top of it, but it's quite hard to find any sugar-free Sprite in Thailand, so I didn't bother. Everything's got sugar in it there, and I used to have diabetes. Yeah, Michael, I've traveled around a lot. I've traveled all over Asia. I've lived in a lot of countries. My background is hotels. I used to work in hotels. That's how I first got out to Asia. And, you know, I don't really have any desire to go traveling now. I watch other vloggers they're kind of like 40, 45, and, you know, they're like, hey, I'm in Cambodia today, and tomorrow I'm off to the Philippines, and check it out, guys, I'll be in Singapore next week. And I can't do that anymore. I get tired, I really do. And, you know, what happens when I used to go to Thailand, I'd come back really tired, I'd go to bed, have a proper night's sleep. Next day, right as rain. Takes me 5 or 6 days to get over the jet lag now. I mean, I'm still not there yet. I should be okay by Monday, but my days of traveling, unfortunately, are kind of marked now. Right, Mark Hanley. Pete, worst thing I ever seen was an old guy in a wheelchair getting pushed around by his girlfriend, making him go to the ATM to withdraw money. Yeah, I mean, I've seen that, but did she really make him, or did he want to do it? You don't know. I mean, just because a guy's in a wheelchair, you don't know his background. He could be, it's doubtful he's a multi-millionaire, but he could be, you know, worth a lot of money. And if the guy he's in a wheelchair, he knows he's only got a year or so to live, and he might love this little girl he's with, right? And he might want to make her happy. He might be thinking like, well, I've got 6 months left. I'm in a wheelchair. She's taking care of me. She wants 10,000 baht for a family. She can have it. You know, some people think like that, don't they? Right. This guy's calling him Ed Sweeney, but this is not the Ed Sweeney. Why do always mongers pretend to be vloggers? Now, the person, this guy who's left this comment, he hasn't even got the balls to use his own YouTube name. He's masquerading as Ed Sweeney because he wants to come on here and troll. And do you actually feel better now you've left this comment? So it's Saturday night, you've come on here, you're impersonating Ed Sweeney, and you left a comment that says, why do mongers always pretend to be vloggers? Now, do you actually feel better within yourself? Do you feel happier now? Are you sitting there thinking, that was great, I really got to that guy? I feel sorry for you, mate. It's pathetic. So let's just get rid of him. Right, who's this? Welsh 32. Some people would say, if you turn your back on the UK, why should the British taxpayer you back just because you can't afford medical bills in Thailand? I'm playing devil's advocate, say this. No, it's a good point. It's a good point. But let me just answer you that in the way I think. I left school when I was 15 in 1975. I've worked all of my life. I've never had a day off sick. I'm not looking for any medals. I'm just answering your question, right? So I've been paying into the system for 47 years. I've just paid my tax bill last month. I just paid £2,020 because I'm self-employed. I paid 2,000. I've also got to pay another £600 by the end of February. Then I've got to pay another £600 in July. It's just how the Inland Revenue work in the UK, the mafia, as I call them. And so in answer to your question, yeah, I know where you're coming from, but I've paid into the system for 47 years. I've not taken anything out. I've never been on the dole. I've never received any benefits. I've never had been given a council flat or a council house. The only thing I've got, I'm getting it now, but when I turn 60, they give me free medicine. But how many years have I been paying for that? So, you know, I'm not turning my back on the UK. I've still got, and I'll still be paying tax. And I'll tell you why, because I've got some property here, which I rent out, and that's taxable income. And when I'm abroad, I know when you're an expat, you don't pay so much tax, but I'll pay just the fact that I've got them properties. I'm going to end up paying some tax, aren't I? So, yeah, it's a good point what you're saying. But personally, from my own personal situation, I don't think I'm kind of taking advantage of the system, because they've had a lot more out of me than I'm going to take out of them. And touch wood, I'm still fairly healthy, so hopefully I won't get too ill soon. Okay. Let's see what else. I lost my mouse. I've got two screens and I'm sharing them with one mouse. I keep losing it. Okay, so Solomon Gully, is it? But what kind of work will you do, Peter? Well, I'm kind of semi-retired, but because I worked hard all my life and I didn't blow my money too much. Of course, I had a good time, but I didn't blow it willy-nilly. I've got some property that I rent out that bring me in rent. That's my base money. I work at the moment for the local council, but I'm going to give that up. I get a little bit of money from YouTube now. So I think with everything, because I don't want to tell you all my personal details, but I've got some money coming from here and a little bit coming from there and a little bit coming from over here. So with everything, you know, I can probably get about 80 to 100,000 baht a month to live on in Thailand. And because I know Thailand very well, I know I can live well on that. I'm not going to be going out to go-go bars and all the rest of it. So I should be okay. And if it hits a fan, if it all goes wrong, I can come back and sell a couple of properties and, you know, live comfortably here and, you know, put one foot in the grave, as it were. Right, MechTech, but YouTube earnings are not earned in Thailand. They are earned from USA. This is the same as earning money by trading stocks. It can be done anywhere. Yeah, I mean, I actually pay tax on my YouTube earnings, because if you don't register, you probably don't know this if you haven't got a YouTube channel. Let me just tell you about this. Oh, that's good. I'm going to have another one. So how YouTube work, you've got to register for the country where you live or you operate to pay tax. Now, if you don't bother, you get taxed automatically at the American scale of tax. And I believe for YouTube, now I might be wrong here, so I'm just letting you know what I've heard. If you don't register your YouTube channel for tax and YouTube just automatically register you in America, I believe you pay something like 30% of your earnings in tax because you haven't bothered registering. Now, if I registered Thailand bound in the UK, I would pay, I think it's 18%. So for every £100 I earn, £18 would go to the UK government. So what I've done, I've registered Thailand bound in Thailand. So I do pay tax, but I pay 7%, which is a Thai rate. But of course, then what happens, as that money gets paid to me, the money gets paid by Google Island, because it's a tax haven island, isn't it? So the money gets paid by Google Island. So when that money comes into my account, of course, I'm taxed on my personal income tax on that. So I get taxed from Thai tax, 7%. And then when it comes into my UK account, I have to pay personal tax on it. So hopefully the personal tax side of it will go away once I'm living in Thailand. Okay, let's see what everybody else is. Let me just refresh this screen because I think something strange going on there. Right, no, we have got 609 people in the stream. Right, here's somebody new. I haven't seen this name before. Mick Mann. I lived in Thailand doing visa runs to Penang and used to get a week short of 4 months at a time using up extensions, but they stopped all that a few years ago. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can't give you the exact rules, but that a lot of people did that. You could actually live in Thailand just doing border runs. So you'd get in a minibus and you'd go to a border somewhere, get a month, and then at the end of the month you do it again. But they've stopped it now, and it's getting more and more difficult. They'll ask you questions, and if they're not happy with your answers, they can actually blacklist you. And I believe I did read somewhere that the maximum you could do it now was 3 months out of a year. Now, I've missed that. Somebody sent me a nice super chat there, and I've missed that. Let me get that up on the screen here. I want to say big thank you to this guy. Right. I've missed a lot of your comments, guys. Right, here we go. Right, Stephen 4X, 20 quid. Peter, could you be a tour guide consultant for newbies who want to retire there? Was prepping for my first visit when all the lockdown BS came in. You know what, Stephen, that's not a bad idea, actually, because when I'm in Thailand, I'm going to be looking to make an income, aren't I? And YouTube's not 100% reliable because they can pull the plug anytime. Look at that guy in Pattaya. What was his name? Cheap Charlie Chronicles, was it? He was making a real good living. He had a lot of subscribers. But he'd walk into his apartment and there'd be like girls on the sofa and that. And I think he went a little bit too far. And I think YouTube kind of went through his videos and thought, no, this guy is, you know, it's not for us. And they pulled the plug on him, and he's back in America now. And he started another YouTube channel in the States, but it failed dismally. But in answer to your question, that's actually a good idea. I wouldn't mind doing that. I mean, if I was in, because I know Bangkok Pat, he does tours. I was talking about this on the interview. So what, you know, if you've seen any of Bangkok Pat's videos, he does very in-depth history videos on certain parts of Bangkok, and they're really good. You know, he did one on old Sukhumvit, and you know, they're almost documentary style. But he does tours now, so if he'll make a video on the old city, for instance, and then somebody will say, well, I'd like to walk around that old city. Can you take me around? And he'll take them around. And I think he charges 3,000 baht for a 4-hour tour. But he does deals for longer. But that's quite a good idea. If I was living there and somebody said, look, I'm coming out to Bangkok, I've never been there before, I need a tour guide for a couple of days just to show me the rope. I mean, I definitely wouldn't be a tour guide. If somebody said to me, look, I want to come out and I want to visit this temple, and I want to go to this mall, and I want to visit this, you know, or this museum, and Jim, is it Jim Turner's house? Or I can't remember his name, the cloth guy. That wouldn't interest me. That would bore the pants off me. But if somebody said, look, I'm coming out for a couple of days, can I hook up with you? Can we sit and drink coffee? I want to ask you a lot of questions. Can you show me this? Can you show me that? Yeah, I would do that, because it's extra income, isn't it? I might do one a week. I don't know. But yeah, definitely. Right. Chugsy, agreed. Dutch Frank, pointless trolling Peter. There are so many other TH vloggers that deserve it. Who was that guy? I've seen him before. He calls himself Ed Sweeney. It's not Ed Sweeney, because, you know, when Ed leaves a comment, he comes in here sometimes, Ed Sweeney, and he'll leave a comment. He won't leave one tonight, God bless him, because he'll be fast asleep, won't he now? Time in Thailand, it's probably about 5 in the morning, 20 past 5 in the morning. But you'll know if it's really that YouTube, because his picture, he's got that monkey face, hasn't he? But that guy, I mean, what a coward to use somebody else's YouTube name and come in and start trolling. I mean, you know, how sad must his life be? Right. Mac, to be honest, that doesn't sound like a long-term solution for paying tax on YouTube. As a retiree, you're not allowed to work, so more investigation. What do you mean you're not allowed to work as a retiree? Who not Mac? So if I retire in Thailand, that's just my way of saying I'm going to Thailand full time. But if I get a work permit in Thailand, which in the old days you could only get, the work permit only allowed you to work for one company. So if you said, I'm working for ABC company who makes sheds over here, and you got a work permit, you weren't allowed to do anything else. You had to only work for ABC sheds, right? But if you get a work permit now, you can work doing anything. You can work for 100 companies because you've got the work permit. So long-term solution for paying tax. So it is, because if I go for UK citizens, as long as they're not back in the UK, you're allowed to go up to 90 days a year. If you stay 91 days in the UK, you're eligible for tax. Sorry, I said that wrong. If you stay, if you stay less than 3 months, rather, it's 3 months is a threshold. So let's say it an easy way. As long as you don't come back to the UK for more than 3 months a year, you're an expat. You don't pay tax. It's not like in America. It doesn't matter how long they're away for. They have to pay tax all the time. But for the UK, as long as you don't spend more than 3 months a year, then you don't pay tax. Now, when I say I'm retiring out there, yeah, I'm going to actually retire. But if I want to do a little bit of YouTube, maybe a few tours, something like that, there's nothing wrong with that. And I won't pay any tax. If I'm not in the UK, I won't pay any tax. So 7% will come off my YouTube earnings because it's registered to Thailand, which is the lowest tax I can find. And Why wouldn't it be a long-term strategy? It would be, actually. I think it would, unless I'm missing something, which you can let me know about. Right. Steve Martin, he never states I've been happily married for 32 years, just that he's been married for 32 years, 31 years actually, Steve. Right, what else? Okay, so Max says retired can't work in Thailand, working visa restricted to certain carriers of occupation. Right, okay, let me be really clear on this, because people are getting confused on this. If you go out on a tourist visa or retirement visa, you cannot work in Thailand. In order to work in Thailand, you must have a work permit. There are a lot of people who go out there and they get retirement visas and they work. They do little businesses, but if they get caught, they'll get thrown out of the country and they'll get blacklisted, right? So let's be clear on that fact. If you retire in Thailand and you get a retirement visa, you cannot work, right? Now, if you retire in Thailand, i.e. you go to live full time there, you're not really putting a 100% work, you just want to live there, but you want to do a little bit sideline business. If you've got a work permit, you can legally work in Thailand anywhere, absolutely anywhere. Now, when you say there's certain categories, you can't go to Thailand and become a plumber, a taxi driver, a hairstylist, you know, something that the Thais do, you know, just an everyday run-of-the-mill job. You can't go to Thailand and be a butcher. You can't go to Thailand and be a, you know, like a regular job, like a taxi driver, a hairdresser. Yeah, you're right. You can't do that. But I can get a work permit. I'm not going to tell you how I get the work permit, but it's all legal. I can get a work permit. And once I've got a work permit, I'm entitled to work in Thailand. Now, I'm not going to go to Thailand and be a hairdresser or a taxi driver, right? I'm going there to do lots of different things. Now, that guy who just made the suggestion, would you do tours? Yeah, I might do tours, but that's working, because if somebody says, look, I want to go around, can you show me Mabu Kong and show me how this works? I'll take them out and they put money in my hand. I'm working because he's just paid me, right? So if I'm making YouTube videos and YouTube pay me, I'm working. So I'm just not going to take any chances and get caught. So you are right in what you're saying, but you're not in a little bit as well. So I hope I've kind of cleared that up for you. Right, Peter, you've definitely grown a pair of massive gold. Yeah, okay, thanks. I tell you, if you just joined me, I was saying earlier when I started, this is a lot easier than getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning like I did in the hotel room in Bangkok. I mean, that was real difficult. Okay, so Steve's saying lady boys are good tour guides. Yeah, I don't know about that, Steve. I've never sort of used one myself. Right. and I've just said that, and somebody's put up the Spence 60. Peter, you're like Skinny Manny. He says he doesn't date Thai ladies. All right. Right. Paul Hoskin, I only want to visit the cleaners. Yeah, that was something. Somebody came into the channel a few weeks ago and they said they only date the cleaners. You know, they don't like going with bar girls, and for some reason this guy had a thing about cleaners. You know, when you go in the mall, you get these women, middle-aged women cleaning. They're the sort of women he went for. I mean, Jim Thompson, that's it, Steve. I was talking about the guy, the clothes, Jim Thompson. That's who it is. Yeah, right. MechTech, good answer. Upon YouTube earnings, I didn't know you had registered the channel in Thailand. In that case, I agree that you need a work permit. My channel registered in US because I'm in India. Well, when I say I've registered it in Thailand, the Thai government don't know anything about it. The Thai Inland Revenue, the equivalent, they don't know anything about this channel. But when I say I've registered, with YouTube, they changed the rules and they sent out an email or a message last year and they said, right, wherever you are in the world, you need to register for your country's tax. If you don't, we'll automatically register you for USA tax, which is about 30% on this. And so I looked at all my options and I registered it in Thailand. So as far as YouTube goes, this channel is registered in Thailand. But if I go to Thailand, no Thai authorities know that because it's nothing to do with them. It's just YouTube. Simon Campbell, hi Peter, did you travel on a visa to Thailand? Wondering, is there any 3 months option? I actually extended mine because I got sick. I didn't want to take any chances. So what happened was I went out on a 1 month tourist. Well, I didn't apply for it. So what happens from the UK anyway? You get to the airport, you present your passport, bang, they give you a month. You don't have to apply for it, right? And then you have to be out before the 30 days is up. Of course, I got positive result. I stayed another 2 weeks, and I extended for a further month. I actually paid an agent to do it for me, but because of the COVID restrictions, I actually got 60 days. I could have stayed there till March. I think it was March the 15th, but I only used a week and a half of it, something like that. So normally it would be a month. But in answer to your question, 3 months. The best way to do it is if you want 3 months before you go, not at the moment when it's all back to normal, go onto the Thai embassy's website and apply for a 2 months tourist visa. You can do it. I know somebody who does it. You'll get your passport back very, very quickly, and you'll get a 2 months tourist stamp. Now, once you're in Thailand, you can extend that for a further 1 month, giving you a full 3 months. Now, the reason I'm saying do it through the Thai embassy is because if you go out to Thailand, you'll get 1 month, and you can extend that for a further month. It's 1,900 baht to the immigration. That's what it costs. I don't think you can extend it a third time. I don't know how you do it. So if you, in your mind, if you are going out for 3 months, get the 2 months wherever you are from your Thai embassy, and then you're sorted for your 60 days. And then when you get there, you can get that extra 30 days. That's your 90 days then. Okay. So Michael says, what hobbies would you like to pick up while in Thailand? I'd like to join a good gym, because I used to go to the gym when I was younger. And as I said earlier, I got put off the gyms here because you can never get on the equipment. I like to use gyms in the evening. When you get to my age, you want to try and, keep a certain level of fitness. I don't mean I want to, be a muscle man, anything like that. But, I want to do exercise every day. I was diabetic too when I was big. I lost the weight and got rid of that. But, when you're overweight, everything's, everything in your body suffers. You get a lot of fat around your organs. You get this beer belly. Your knees suffer. You can become diabetic too. So I want to try and get fit. And as a hobby, I quite like going to the gym. And I'm not talking about pumping weights or, just go on a treadmill for 30 minutes, get a sweat up, go in the washroom, have a nice shower, maybe a steam bath, something like that. Yeah, that's nice. Ben, nice to see you in. It was spelt wrongly. What was spelt wrongly? It. Okay, sometimes I told you I left school when I was 15 and I went straight to a steelworks. I worked in a steelworks. That was my first job. That was hard work. So my spelling has improved over the years, but I do make mistakes occasionally. When somebody says, "Oh, you spelled," like I put one of my thumbnails, it says, "This nightmare, when will it finally end?" And I spelt finally a little bit wrong. And somebody wrote to me and said, "Oh, you spelled it wrong. It's like this." And I immediately went in and changed it. So I'm not proud. If I've done it wrong, I'll put my hand up and say, "Yeah, thanks for letting me know," and I'll change it. I don't know which word you meant, Ben. Maybe you can let me know. Right, Dave, I'd like to do a tour of the bars. I mean, that's an easy one to do. I mean, you could do that by yourself, but yeah, I mean, I'd do that. You've actually planted a seed in my head now. I might look into that, because that'd be something I'd enjoy, because I like meeting people. And if somebody said, "Look, I'm coming to Bangkok for the first time. I don't know the area. Can you take me to the decent bars in Soy Cowboy? Can you take me to decent bars in Nana?" Because obviously I know the ones that will rip you off. I know the decent ones and all the rest of it. So yeah, I might look into that. That's something I quite enjoy, I think. Right, Mac, you're still at it. A work permit, yes. A retirement visa, no. I didn't realize you were getting a work permit. Like to know how, if that's okay. I can't tell you, Mac, because obviously I've got contacts in Thailand. I'm not doing anything illegal, but I use certain people. I've made contacts over the years, and like I wanted to extend my visa for just recently. It was done overnight. The guy picked up my passport at 7 o'clock at night. At 10 o'clock in the morning, I had 2 more months in my passport. My work permit, same thing. I'll get a work permit. I'll get a Thai driving license. I can't tell you how, unfortunately. It's just from spending a lot of years in Thailand. I've made a lot of connections, and everything's done legally, but you've got to know people. And I can't give her that information here, unfortunately. If we were sitting in a bar in Bangkok and you asked me, I'd tell you, but I can't tell you here. I don't know who's going to watch this. Right, Steve, the new SkyTrain to DMK Airport is exhausting. Yeah, and of course it depends how big your bag is as well, doesn't it? Okay, I was hoping this question wouldn't be asked tonight. I'll leave it on the screen. It's from Daz. In answer to that question, I doubt it. I don't know. I wish the answer was yes, but I doubt it. It kind of strains our friendship, so I haven't mentioned it. I haven't been told about anything, and I don't think it will happen, which, I've tried my best to keep it going. Like I say, it strained our friendship a little bit, but I'm not going to mention it anymore. I'm just going to accept it's kind of dead and buried. It was good while it lasted. Right. Mark Hanley, Pete, the Wizard of Oz is not real, mate. Well, I don't know what you mean by that, Mark. Yeah, and there's no Santa Claus either. I do realise that. Right, someone fishing there. No, I don't know who Jay is, and he's not making any animation. Damon, Dutch Frang, what is two simps here? Not understand. Okay. I got to be careful, because when I answer people, I don't want to take the mickey and, put people down or anything, but if there's something I don't understand, just send in another comment and hopefully I can understand it. Joe K, only some friendly advice, but I would tell anybody what you're doing or how you're doing it, not in Thailand anyway. Well, exactly. That's why I haven't mentioned it. I've spoken in a roundabout way. I don't want to be Mr. Cloak and Dagger. You've got to kind of explain yourself up to a point, but with actual details, no, you're right. Mark says, I can see this going as Land of Smiles, Thailand. No, absolutely not. I know Simon's in the old days, somebody said to me, oh, you're copying Land of Smiles with the stories. And I really wasn't. And somebody wrote to Simon and said, oh, this guy's copying you. And Simon actually he came on and said, no, the internet's a big place. There's room for everybody. And I didn't discover Simon's site until somebody said to me, oh, there's another guy tells stories. Is he copying you? And I went on and I looked at all his older videos. I said, well, no, he started a long time before me. And his are different because when he tells a story, they kind of go on for quite a long time, don't they? I used to watch them, actually. There was one called Solomon's Tales. It kept me up till 4 a.m. I was like, I've got to see what happens next. And then he'd tell the next episode. And it was like, it still didn't finish. I was like, oh, God, what happens next? And in the end, I did get to the end of it, about 12 episodes. But mine are different, aren't they? Because I'll tell 3-4 stories in half an hour. People send them to me. I edit them, rewrite them, take out any swear words, and I just read them out. So they're different to his. And the way he had this little resort, didn't he? And he used to do videos for that. And that's not what I'm going to do. I have got my own strategy. I know where I'm going with the channel. Once I live in Thailand, I know exactly what I'm going to do, and it's nothing like that. Fair play to him, what he does. I'm not knocking him or slating him, but it's not what I'm going to do. I'm not going to be living in a rural part of Thailand, living on a farm. It's not for me. Right, Boohoo, just joined in. Are you in the UK at the moment? I am, unfortunately. I'm in the UK, made it back in one piece. Yeah, let's change this, see if we can get something a bit more exciting. Yeah, what about this lovely lady here? Right, right. Steve, is YouTube considered work in Thailand? Well, the easy answer to that, Steve, is if anything you do in Thailand, if somebody pays you for your services, whatever it is, you're working because you're getting paid. And I know a guy, well, I don't know him myself, but Simon told me this story about a guy who got set up by the police, actually set him up. He went down to Phuket and he had to find out, I think it was something like a private detective agency or something. There was a guy, he had a bar girl friend, right? He went back to his own country and he wanted to know, the girl was right now, oh, I don't work in the bar anymore. I'm in my village. And, he didn't trust her. So he got in touch with this detective agency and he says, I want to know, is my girlfriend on the level? She was working in this bar. She says she's not working there anymore. Can you check her out and tell me how much you're going to charge? I want to see if she's still working or if she is a good girl. So this detective guy used this other guy who wasn't on a work permit. He was retired, and they sent him down to Phuket. And he was in this little restaurant, and the guy was there. And he says, "So the fee is this much, isn't it?" And the guy said, "Yeah, that's how much it is." And he took this envelope and he pushed it across the table to this guy. And as soon as he picked up the envelope, the police came out from hiding behind all sorts of things. He got arrested. And I know some more detail. I don't want to say anything more about it, but yeah. In answer to your question, Steve, anything you get paid for, if you're in Thailand and you retire, it means you go there to work. You go there to retire. You go there to sit on a beach and play golf, whatever. That's fine. But if you do any kind of work and you get paid, and they're quite hot on it, it's not like the old days where you could, nobody will find out. And the worst thing about Thailand is you'll get grassed up because there's a lot of jealous people in Thailand. I'm talking about foreigners. And what will happen if they see you're doing well, or they see that you've got something nice in your life that's going on, they'll just grass you up. They'll just report you to the police because they're jealous. And there's a lot of that goes on, especially in a town like Pattaya. So what I say, if you go out there, even if you're doing things legit, don't shout your mouth off in a bar. Just don't tell people anything. if somebody starts asking you, just be polite and answer in a roundabout way, but do not give out any of your personal, financial or work or personal things to anybody in a bar, because they'll use it against you. They'll stab you in the back. I know that for fact, guys. I've seen it happen so many times. Let's get some of these newer comments. There's no one there. Red Farang, are you home now? Are you still in Thailand? No, I'm home. You know the giveaway, don't you? Because I'm drinking the Kronenberg, because when I was in Thailand, it was 4 o'clock in the morning. I was drinking coffee. Okay, we've still got over 600 in the chat. Good to see you guys in here. Paul Hoskin, I gave my girlfriend money to not work in the bar anymore, and she kept her word. She's a freelancer now. Only from Paul Hoskins. Okay. You got a bit of a fan club here, Paul. Look, Dutch Frank, Paul Hoskin, yeah. Who else we got? Robert Jenkins, good heart man. Harold Bishop Peters home. Nice to see you again in here, Harold. Right, Dutch Frank. A monger is a man who enjoys female company. Yeah, it's kind of a little bit more than that, though, isn't it? I won't go into it here. Right. How do I pronounce that? Aldo de Lusa. Simon's stories are 30 minutes, but get dragged over 15 videos. Yeah, I kind of know what you mean. I mean, he's got his own style, hasn't he? He tells the stories from memory, and he's a very, very good storyteller. But I know where you're coming from. I mean, they do kind of suck you in, and then you think, Jesus, I've got to get to the end of this. Will it ever get to the end? And, you know, that's just his style, isn't it? Right, I am Joy. Shame about your wife, Peter, but have fun in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. They're all sweet there. Well, she's not dead, I am Joy. You came on here last week and started saying funny things. So, yeah, I don't know why you say shame about your wife. She's very, very happy. She's just had a Korean family over. She's glad to see me back. And there's no shame about it, Joy. Right, Tom Robinson. Anyone know what happened to... This comes up quite a lot. No, not... anyone knows what happens to... I've lost it. Thailand 1-1... Oh, there we are. Tom Robinson. Anyone know what happened to Bangkok 112? Just disappeared off the planet, didn't he? Right, Chris Gallen. Hi, Peter. I watched your videos on when you got COVID in Thailand. Can you shed any light on what happens if you get COVID whilst on holiday? I did that at the beginning, Chris. I don't want to go over it again because I spent quite a long time at the beginning. I mean, in a nutshell, you're supposed to go to a hospital and be locked in a room for 10 days, but it doesn't seem to be happening now. Go back and watch at the beginning. I talked about 15 minutes into the video because, you know, there's 600 people in here now. Most of them heard it earlier. I don't want to sort of repeat it. Right, Nick Franco, if you believe your bar girlfriend will quit if you pay her allowance, I have a palace in Bangkok I'd like to sell you. Yeah, I mean, they don't quit, guys. I mean, I remember years ago, I've told this story quite a long time ago. I remember years ago, I had a friend who owned a bar on the 3rd floor of Nana. And this is when I lived in Bangkok, and I used to go into his bar because he's my friend, and I went in to see him and I drank with him. I never took any girls out of his bar, and all the girls in that bar knew I was never going to take a girl out of the bar. They all knew I was a friend of the guy. It was his son actually who run it. They all knew I went in there to have a few beers with him. I went in alone and I left alone, and that went on for months. So they all knew I wasn't a punter, and I got friendly with a lot of them. I was talking to them. And there was one girl in particular, she was a very good looking girl, and she had 5 sponsors. So she had, I think it was a guy in Germany, a couple of guys in America, a couple of English guys. And these 5 guys were sending her money, 20,000, 25,000 baht a month. And I said to her, and she was dancing, and I said to her one day, I said, look, you know, you've got these 5 sponsors sending you money. You know, you must be on 100,000. And don't forget, I'm talking 20 years ago. And I said, you're still dancing, you're still going off with customers. Why do it? And she basically, her answer to me was, why not? You know, I've got the opportunity to earn even more money. Why wouldn't I do it? So she turned it on me because I'm like, well, you've got 5 sponsors. You're getting all this money. Why don't you just stay at home and take it easy? And her answer, like I say, was, well, why shouldn't I? Why should I lose money? So then they never stop. It's never enough. It's never enough. And, you know, if you go over there as a white knight and you think, oh, well, this one's different. I found the one that's different. She spins you this story about, oh, you know, I have to look after my parents. I've got no other choice. I don't have education. If somebody rolled into this bar and paid me 20,000 baht a month, I'd love to stop working. And well, it's rubbish. It's not true. Right. Darcy, yeah, I did suspect that. Darcy says, I am Joy is a troll. I didn't want to say, but the that person came in last week and said a few derogatory comments, but I like the trolls when they come in because I like to answer them. I mean, a lot of guys, when trolls come in, they just block them. I do block them eventually, but whenever they put a derogatory comment up, I don't. A lot of people ignore them. I don't. I answer it. You know, why ignore them? I mean, who are they? Like the first guy who came in, what was his name? He called himself Ed Sweeney. It wasn't Ed Sweeney. Right, Bill Griffiths. I'm planning my first trip to Pattaya on my own because my mates all dropped out. Is this a good idea? Yeah, Bill, absolutely. Why not? I mean, you know, a lot of you'll probably find out that if you go with a mate, it'll probably drag you down anyway. Because once you get there, it's not like you're going to get to Pattaya and say, "Oh, when am I going to go out? I don't know the city." You'll walk out of your hotel and it's all there. You know, you can't miss it, and you're not going to not have a good time. You know, so yeah, just go for it. Go onto Agoda, book a hotel, try to get around Soy Bacau, Tree Town, the beach road, anywhere, any of them Soy 7, Soy 8, you know, Soy Post Office, anywhere, good little hotel. If you've never been there before, you're going for a couple of weeks, book for 2 nights, right? Because you'll never not be able to get a hotel room. Book for 2 nights. On your second day there, have a look around a few hotels. When you find a better one you really like, then you can check into that one for 2 weeks. Right, Omar says, have you been to South Korea? Yeah, I met my wife there. It's a long story. My background is hotels, and I went to work in a hotel in South Korea, and she was working in the reception. She was 19 at the time, and it went from there basically. So yeah, and I've been back to South Korea a couple of times, but it's not really for me. I don't want to say anything in case she watches this later. Right, who sent me that super chat? Daniel Smith. Let me find that so I can put that on the screen. Thank you, Daniel, in advance. Right, there we go. And if you've just joined us, guys, let me just tell you about tomorrow's video again. From next week, I'm going to be doing the love stories again. Love stories. It could be any. They shouldn't really be called love stories. Should disaster stories. So I've got plenty of stories now. I always welcome more. If you've got a story, send it in. It will get read out eventually. So I've got a few stories. I'm going to start preparing them over the weekend for next week. But I've got a great video coming out tomorrow. I went to visit the bridge on the River Kwai and Hellfire Pass, where they went through the mountain with nothing but picks, and it's a 30-minute video. It's well worth watching, guys. You'll enjoy that if you're into history. Okay, let's see some of these comments we might have missed. Jamie296, what kind of timeline for relocating out there are you thinking of, Peter? 6 months? No, I'm going out there full time. That's it. I'm going to sell my house and I'm going out there. I'm going to go for it. Why not? What's the worst that can happen? It doesn't work out and I come back. I've done it then, haven't I? Okay. Well, I'm just trying to find some of the newer comments here. Yeah, that's what I was saying at the earlier. Alexandra Dupont. Sorry, I haven't said hello to you tonight. I missed your comments. But Songkran back to normal tourism. Yeah, you'd like to think so. I think so as well, Alex. So, like I said at the beginning, the vibe I was getting from Thailand, people are just fed up with it now. The Thais as well, they want to crack on. You know, the government are under a lot of pressure now, and I honestly think in a few, just a couple of months, maybe 2-3 months maximum, that's all right. Just prove that you've had your 2 Maxims when you come in. Maybe you might have to have a PCR test when you come in, but all that quarantine business, I think that'll all be out the window. Right, Mark Hanley, Simon. Okay. Anti-venom stove. Mongers unite. Bit of a sausage fest down in Pattaya when I was there. I mean, there are sort of women down there, but there's I think a lot of them haven't returned yet. But a lot of them are doing this online thing as well, aren't they? Right. Stephen Austin, Peter, you mentioned you were having a meeting with Jay from the Tiger to do your animation. Did you that for? No, it wasn't to do that strictly. No, what that was, it's my fault really. You watch a Tiger, right? Jay is the younger guy who reads the news when Natty. They sit together, don't they? And he sent me an email, and they're launching something else, a Tiger Entertainment, something like that. And he said, look, you know, could we do a collaboration? He didn't particularly mention just the animations. He mentioned some other stuff. But he said, you know, can we do a collaboration and do some stuff? And I was like, yeah, I'll get back to you when I'm in the UK. And I haven't gotten back to him yet. So I don't know exactly what he wants. I'll write to him this week and see what it is. But just to be contacted by those guys is kind of like, you know, it's a nice feather in your cap, isn't it, actually, the Tiger, you know. Right, we've got another super chat down there. I always like to put these guys up. Right, thanks. That's a generous one. Chad Lord, Love your channel, mate. Land the 2nd of February for a month. Won't bore you with details. 5th test is stupid though. Yeah, I went for when I got back, I wasn't worried about it at all. You know, you got to fill in this passenger locator form the day before you come back to the UK, and then when you come back, you got a self-test with a kit that I bought before I went. I must 5 PCR tests, you know, and then I sent it off. I dropped it in a post box. You'll get your results. And I thought, you know what? I don't give a shit if I'm positive because I'm at home, so I'll just work on YouTube, watch Netflix, and drink lots of beer. But it's all over now. Right, Robert Jenkins, do not sell your UK house, please. Don't just rent it to an agent and live off their rent. Robert, no, I can't give you too many details at the moment, but I'll explain why a little bit nearer the time. Shane O Traveller, hi, I've seen you in Ed's stream quite a few times. Nice to see you here. Okay, how long we've been going for? 2 hours, 45 minutes. Still got 575 in. Soy Devil, great fun in Pattaya, pretending to be a newbie with a bar girl. After half hour talking Thai, the reaction absolutely hilarious. Well, do you know what? I mentioned this in a video ages ago. The guys I know in Thailand who speak very good Thai, they don't speak Thai in the bars because what happens, you know, these girls are working in bars to make money, and the tourists are the biggest earner for them because they don't know anything. They could have just arrived with a pocket full of cash. They're there for a month. You know, they're going for the kill big time. If a guy walks in and he starts speaking fluent Thai, they'll walk away. They don't want to know because, one, they know the score. If they speak Thai, they've probably got a Thai wife, and they just don't want to be involved. But I know what you mean. It is kind of fun if a girl comes up to you in a bar and I've done it myself. I've been out with Simon in Pattaya years ago, and a girl will come up and say, "Oh, you come on holiday?" You know, and you say, "Yeah, I just arrived today." And, "Oh, you've been Thailand before?" Because they're getting all the information, aren't they? Never been before. How long you stay? Oh, at least a month, maybe 2, up to me. Oh, where you stay? Sheraton. You know, and you can see the eyes are getting bigger, bigger, bigger. He's here for a month minimum. He's got a pocket full of cash. He's never been here. He doesn't know anything. He's checked into the Sheraton, you know, ready for the big kill, as it were. But you know, you can't. They do what they got to do, don't they? Right. Okay. Zenity, is it the morbid grift needs to end? The masses are seeing through it. Yeah. Yeah, it's getting a bit boring now, isn't it? Oh, hang on, what's happening with my TV here? Don't go off. That's it. Okay, Cox Erect. Yeah, okay, you're talking to someone else. Right, Bruce, did you mention whereabouts in Thailand you'll give a go when you yeah, I've got to stay in central Bangkok. I've actually found an apartment already. Now, the apartment that I have found is perfect for me. It's a 1-bedroom apartment. Now, that particular apartment will go, obviously, it's not going to be empty for 6 months, but the building where it is, they've got 70 apartments. When I went there just now, 20 of them were vacant. Maybe there'll only be 5 vacant by the time I relocate out there, but it's perfect. It's in a soy between Asok and Nana. I'm not going to take exactly in case some nutter out there. But it's a 1-bedroom apartment. It's got a nice big swimming pool on the roof. It's got security. It's clean. It's got a little mini safe in there. It's got a washing machine, nice big sofa, flat screen TV. It's ready to go. It's 20,000 baht a month. I've got to be in Bangkok because I've got a strategy with my YouTube channel now, the way I'm going to go in the future. When I'm sitting in the UK doing YouTube videos, it's all over the place because you're just trying to keep the channel going. But once I'm based in Thailand and you know, and I'm there full time, then I've got a kind of direction I'm going to go in. I don't want to be one of these guys who just, I know I did it when I was there, but walking down the street with a selfie saying, you know, hey, here I am. I mean, that only goes so far, doesn't it? So I don't want to let you into my plans at the moment, but I have got a bit of a strategy. Right. Stephen, wish you the best with your plan to relocate full-time in Thailand. I did something similar in 2017 from the States and went to Hong Kong. But I'm likely leaving soon for the Philippines or Phuket. Yeah, why Hong Kong? I mean, that's crazy prices in Hong Kong. It's really expensive unless you work took you there. Right. Bar fines and power lines. Serious question. Don't take offense. Are you an alcoholic? You seem to drink a lot. Yeah, I'm a real alcoholic. Cheers. No, I made a video. I know where you're coming from. I'm not offended at all. I do like a drink. I'll be honest with you. I've drank all my life, but if you look on the channel, I've got a video and it's actually called "Don't Become an Alcoholic in Thailand." And my golden rule, and I've stuck to it for the last 30 years, and it's seen me okay. I've got this rule: I don't drink in the daytime. It doesn't matter what the occasion. If I go to a party, I'm sitting around a pool, everybody's drinking beers on a Sunday, I will not touch it for that simple reason. I don't drink a lot. I drink a couple of cans every night. At the weekend, I'll have a drop of whiskey as well. I'll probably watch Netflix and drink that. That's a quarter bottle, and it's a Friday night, right? I won't drink anything like that in the week. I'll drink a couple of pints of beer every night. When I'm in Thailand, I won't touch it in the day. I generally, if the bars are open like normal, I'll go out about 9:30. I'll have an evening out drink, and I don't drink every night in Thailand. It's funny, I drink every night here because there's nothing to do, but in Thailand, I don't. So in answer to your question, no, I'm not offended. I'm not an alcoholic. Do you know there's another level under alcoholic? It's called, hang on, it's called, oh, I forgot what it's called because somebody asked me if I was one of them as well. A conditioned drinker. And what a conditioned drinker is somebody they rely on alcohol. They have to have a drink, but they function in life normal. So they hold down a regular job, they drive, they can do whatever they've got to do in their lives, but they drink every day. And they're called a conditioned drinker. Maybe I'm one of them. I don't know, but I don't drink that much. Okay, so right, Coxie, the phase up to you drives me insane. Don't think too much. It's another classic Bargo reverse psychology. Yeah, I mean that you'll hear that a lot. You know, up to you, but they'll soon tell you it's not up to you if you don't offer them enough. Right, Stephen, yes, it's crazy expensive here, but I had plans to start a business. However, the changes in Hong Kong changed my plans as well, thus off to a lower cost venue. Yeah, I mean, come to Thailand. It's a great place to be. Okay, right. Now that's funny, Thomas, because you said Mark Hanley, Busan was fun 30 years ago. Texas Street is dead now. Right, well, it's really weird you said that, Thomas, because my wife is actually from Busan. It's called Busan now, and the hotel I worked in was called the Paradise Beach Hotel, and it was right on the seafront. It's been knocked down and redone again. I know that because my wife went there with my daughter a few years ago. But that's where I met her, and that was in I think it was 88, something like that. Paul Hoskins says social drinker. Yeah, that's a bit different to a conditioned drinker. A social drinker is really somebody who drinks just to be sociable. They're not really drinkers, are they? Okay. BF Bar Finds a Power Line. That's a glorified alcoholic. What's a glorified alcoholic? Okay. Mark Hanley, Pete, become a Farang copper and pat in. Oh, God. You know what? We got this TV program that was out last year or something called Busted in Bangkok, and it's all about walking street. And you got these guys who are retired out there, and they buy their own uniforms, and it's tourist police, and it's not. I couldn't do that. It's no. Crypto Chris says functioning alcoholic. Yeah, that might be another word for it. But I don't know. I think there's a lot of people in Pattaya who drink too much. I know that. Javier, Peter, what do you think about Cambodia? I'm pretty sure you've been there, right? Yeah, I have been there. It wasn't really for me. I never felt totally safe. I'm not paranoid, but I don't know what it was. When I'm in Thailand, I feel absolutely 100% safe. I walk through Bangkok 4 a.m. Never think twice about it. I know there's crime in Thailand, but we just don't see it. But in Cambodia, I didn't feel that level. I wasn't afraid to go out or anything like that, but I never felt that total secure where I didn't have to look over my shoulder. There was that feeling. And also, it's just not as developed, is it? It's not as developed as Thailand. Thailand's got great infrastructure, great entertainment. Everything works well. Not everything works well, but compared to Cambodia, it's just, it's not really for me. I went to visit just to see what it was like I went to visit the Philippines. That was okay, but again, it wasn't for me. I've been to Singapore, Hong Kong. I don't know. Thailand just pushes the right buttons for me. It's got everything that kind of suits me. Okay, now we've got hit this subject of alcohol now. Every alcoholic in recovery thinks a drinker is an alcoholic. That their thinking changes. I used a totally different subject. I used to smoke a lot. I used to smoke 40 cigarettes a day. I started when I was 15. I started when I was 14 at school, a few cigarettes every day, and I gave up about 10 years ago. Do I feel any better? No. Do I notice the money? No. But it must be healthier because I'm not putting toxins into my body, not with cigarettes anyway. Okay, Mark, Pete became a private investigator. Charge the Germans 10,000 baht a night to check upon their Tiraks. Not only the Germans, everybody. Right. So what you're saying, Mark? You are a private investigator. You must have read the books then by the he I can't remember his name. The famous private detective. He had 2 books, and I've read them both actually. I can't remember his name. Somebody will tell me now. Mickey, thanks, mate. That's really generous of you. Hi, Peter. It was great to meet Simon and yourself on Carlson Road at the start of January. I was yes, I remember you. Yeah. Right, I was with. Let me talk about some people I met now because I have forgot to mention that. Right, God, it's getting cold now. Let me just put this thing. Oh, no wonder the heat is off. No wonder it's cold. Right, Mickey, hi, Peter. I was great to meet you and Simon. Of I was with start of January. I was with my daughter eating the fry. Yeah, I remember. All the very best for your fortune telling plans, buddy. Yeah, Mickey, thanks for the super chat first of all. So what that is, I met a lot of great people in Thailand, and people said to me, Peter, when you go to Thailand, you better watch your back. Be careful because the bar girls are going to be chasing you. You're giving away all their secrets, and some guy who's lost a Thai bar girl who's got his chip on his shoulder might start fighting me and all that. But none of it. It was really nice. I met some really, really nice people, and they come up to me and they just said, "You're Peter, aren't you? Thailand bound, or you got that YouTube channel, haven't you?" And most of them said, "Look, come and have a beer with me." I met an Irish guy on my last night. He was sitting outside the landmark. Can't remember his name. But he said, "Do you want a beer?" And I was actually on my way to meet somebody. I had 5 minutes, so I really was meeting somebody. And I met some great guys in Patty. I can't remember names. There was a guy, I think his origin was Indian. He's English, but if you watch this, you'll know I'm talking about you. I met an ex-military guy called James. He looks like, you can tell he was in the military. He's good to meet him. I met a guy called Sean. I met a whole bunch of people in Patty. If I forgot your name, I apologize. But I've got a real bad memory now at my age. And in Bangkok, there's certain places I went to that if I went to one location, I got a lot of people would say hi. I think the number one place I got recognized was Stumble Inn on Soi 4. One night I had 8 people notice me. I was having breakfast in Checkers one morning. I was sitting near the front of my scrambled eggs, and some guy came in. And no, I mean, honestly, everybody was really, really friendly. Nobody sort of had to go at me and said, "Oh, you put ties down," or something like that. I must have met 60 people who approached me. So that was great. And this guy, Mickey. So what happened with Mickey? Very beautiful daughter. I think half Thai. But I was with Simon. I went down to Carlson Road to make a video. But it's one of the most difficult videos I could ever make because they have this real loud music pumping out. And anywhere you go in Carlson Road, it's so loud. I mean, it's not my sort of place, but it's full of kids. I say kids like 20, 25. They're packed and they're all dancing in the bars outside and they're having a good time. So fair enough. I was young once. And so I was sat here. Simon was sitting here. We were looking out onto Carlson Road in an open front bar. Guy down there with his daughter, and he's eating insects. I sent one over to Simon because I didn't see what was going on at first. Recognized Simon. Simon's got this bloody what was it you had? Was it frogs? Tarantulas, that's it, yeah. And Simon's crunching on this, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, no, it's not for me. So then another one comes. He said, "Come on, try it." And I'm like, no, I don't care. I am not having a tarantula. And then I noticed this guy Mickey down there with his daughter. He was eating them, and he was, so I felt a bit bad because he said, I was just like shaking my head and saying no, and he must have thought this guy's a right snob, So afterwards, I went in the bar and I bought a Leo, and I went up to his table and I was like, "Yeah, have that, Mickey." So expensive Leo was in there, but yeah, good to meet you, mate, and thanks for the tarantula anyway. Sorry I didn't eat it; it's just not for me, and I hope everything worked out with you and your daughter. And yeah, nothing else to say really. Okay, Private Pablo, is the wife moving to back? Okay, I'll let you know about that a little bit later on. Right. Top Cat, Stumble In, my favorite pre-Nana bar. I know the Mama San in Stumble In very, very well. I always give her a tip when I go in there. She's old and experienced, and you keep in with her. You get any trouble in that bar, she'll sort you out, literally. Right, military guys in patio, surely not. Right, I think we're almost there, guys. We've been going for 2 hours. I'll just have a quick check through this. Peter, come to live in Phuket. It's a paradise here. Yeah, I mean, I know lots of paradises I'd like to live. I like Chatham, and it's real quiet there. I mean, I could live in Hua Hin and commute to Chatham for the beaches. But like I say, now this YouTube, it's starting to really take off now. I've got over 30,000 subscribers. Not the biggest channel in the world, but obviously I must be doing something right. There are people who watch the videos. So when I go out there, I've got to be based in Bangkok for what I'm going to do. So for next week's stream, I'll try and organise a bit more. I knew guys would be asking about my trip, so I didn't really prepare anything. Do you know what? YouTube, they just keep slapping my wrist. I did a live stream before I went, and I had a load of Faulty Towers clips, which were really nice. I didn't even get them from the BBC. I got them from a Creative Commons. So if you look for a clip on YouTube and you put Creative Commons, you're allowed to use other people's clips because they've got it there. And I got it from there, and they just took the video and slashed it to bits and said copyright this, copyright there. And in the end, I just gave up with them. So I've got to be really careful now. Mark Hanley, Pete, do you have a sneaky bird in Bangkok that you're setting up in an apartment? Right. Let's just say, Mark, I don't, but let's just say I did. I'm a married man. My missus might watch this later. I don't know. She doesn't watch them normally, but do you honestly think I come out and say, yeah, I've met this little girl called Nat. I'm setting her up in a 10,000 baht apartment. I'm going to have a hot butter on my toast every night. No, I'd say no anyway, wouldn't I? As it is, it's no, but I'd still say no. Right. What's this now? Wayne, Simon could tell me a story about Apple, what you were saying in the car. Are you talking about Apple, the taxi driver? Simon could tell me a story about what you were saying in the car. I was just talking to Apple about we were talking about the COVID, weren't we, and masks and things like that. That was a video called The Worst Thing About Thailand, and people said, oh, that was clickbait, but it wasn't. I meant it. That is the worst thing for me about Thailand, when you got to leave. Damien, you're a generous man again. What we got here? Who gives a hoot? In 50 years from today, we'll all be gone. My advice is enjoy it every day. Be happy to be alive. Lives are full of... Yeah, absolutely, Damien. It's not a dress rehearsal. What's the point in being the richest man in the graveyard? I love these little cliche sayings. Guys, and with that positive outlook from Damien there, I think I'm going to say good night. Nicholas says, sorry, Peter. I don't know why. Nothing to apologize about. Let's just get a few more of these in before we go, because I've got a little bit of beer here. Right, Mark says, he's having a go at me tonight, Mark is. Right, he's saying, I'm going to answer them though. Mark says, why would you go to Stumble or Checkers for breakfast? Monga's breakfast. Okay, let me answer that. I've never ever had breakfast in Stumble. They do a breakfast for 199 baht because a Mama San's been trying to get me there. It starts at 12 o'clock lunchtime. I'll give you a tip in a minute, which I did on one of my other videos. The reason I went to Checkers for breakfast is because I go to a laundry that's opposite the Omni Hotel. So wherever I am, I jump on the back of a bike, and I always go to Wan's Laundry. I've known her for years. Great little laundry, good prices. She doesn't rip you off. And if I want to, she'll come and collect the laundry, but I like to go there and see her. She's like a mother age, it's nothing funny. But the reason I went to Checkers for breakfast, because I drop my laundry off there, then I just walk across to Checkers, it's a bit of a walk, and I have breakfast. But I'll give you a top tip, because when you're in around Sukhumvit, Nana, it's really, really inexpensive. And when I had breakfast in Checkers, I had the full Monty, good breakfast, but it was 380 baht. You get one cup of coffee with it. Once you've drank that coffee, you want another one, you pay for another one, right? So what I started doing is I was going to the Nana Hotel. You can get a buffet in there. It's open until 11 o'clock in the morning, 250 baht. It's a little bit greasy, so you've got to take tissues, right? But you get bacon, sausages, omelets, scrambled egg, fried egg, as much toast as you want, orange juice. You can fill up coffee, tea, as many as you want. For 250 baht, it's quite a good deal. It's not the best breakfast in the world, but for 250 baht, it's pretty good. So that's the first part of the answer for you, Mark. I've never been to Stumble for breakfast. The second part I think I've answered now. Why would you go to Checkers? Because it's opposite the laundry that I go to, and when I've got my laundry, I don't want to go all over town. It was convenient. That's the answer I want to give you. Right, Edward said, just looked in, Pete. Have you had contact with Eddie recently? Yeah. I mean, Ed contacted me when I was still in Bangkok. He doesn't I don't think he likes to talk on the phone, because I rang him and he never sort of picks up, but he'll message me. And I just checked in with him and said, how you doing, Ed? How you getting on? And he wrote to me, and we had a few messages. But no, I haven't bumped into him or spoken to him in person, as it were. I've still got memories from that live stream we did where we got absolutely hammered, Ed Sweeney and me, on a live stream. And it went on for 5 hours, nearly 5 hours anyway. Okay. Nicholas says, what are your thoughts with the increased living costs now with national insurance increase? Would it be wise to choose living? I mean, you're talking, unless you're a big earner, Nicholas, you're talking about 130 quid a year increase. You know, if you're earning £50,000 a year, I think it's going to be £220. But over a year, it's hardly a game changer, is it? Right, Lewis says Phuket has become the most expensive place in Thailand due to unfair ticket. Okay, it's always been expensive, Phuket, actually. I don't go there just because of the logistics of getting down there. It's you know, it's either a 16-hour drive or an 18-hour drive or a few thousand baht on an aircraft getting down there. All right, Paul Hoskins, I'm not going to put that one up. Right, that's a nice one there for you. Brian says, Mark Hanley, why would you go to Stumble or Checkers for breakfast? Monga's breakfast, try it. Okay, we're nearly there now, I think. Right. Adrian Bates, thanks, Peter. Top stream and telling my friends how entertaining you are. Really? Okay, thanks. Right, Lewis, much of the Thai mafia has been kicked. The government seems to control everything. All right. Yeah, I mean, I'll just say about Pattaya, it's very, very good value. The one good thing about Pattaya, the food is a lot cheaper. There's a lot of places where you can get a real good breakfast. I mean, when Trevor, this sounds a bit camp, but Trevor and I met up in the Sailor Bar. Yeah, that's what it's called in Soi 8. And Trevor had the burger and nuggets and chips and all that, and it was like 99 baht. Well, you know, you need to remortgage your house in Bangkok to have that. Paul, we're not going to have another 5-hour stream, mate, because I've got to take my daughter to work in the morning. I'm still knackered, actually. Okay, guys, I think we're pretty much there. That's over 2 hours now. Right, let me just say hi to Mark. You're in a bit late, Mark. Hello, Peter. Do you have to pay for the rooms if you test positive, or does the Thai government? Now, what happens, Mark? You have to have insurance to cover COVID, $50,000 minimum. And the whole idea of that is if somebody arrives and they haven't got much money, they're not going to just say, oh, well, you haven't got any money, you don't have to quarantine. You've got to quarantine. So the idea of the $50,000 minimum. So if you tested positive, they whisk you off to a hospital. It's a business. You probably get a 200,000 baht bill, which is probably about 5,000, 6,000 pounds, 7,000, 8,000 $. And what would happen, because you're insured, that would cover it in theory anyway. I know some insurance companies haven't been paying up, but that's how it works, basically. John the accountant, I went to Thailand at 94 kgs, was there for 6 months, returned to the UK 71, and felt great. After 6 months back in UK, I'm back to 93. Yeah, it's so boring here. You just eat. I'm going back on my diet on Monday because I put about 4. You know, I lost 23 kilos. I put about 4 back on from my Thailand trip. So on Monday, we're back on. Damien, good night, Mr. Peter. I don't know why you call me Mr. Peter. Kiss the ring. Right, good night, Mr. Peter. Great to see you back, and thanks for a great stream as always. Regards, Damien. Give me a ring over the weekend if you've got time, Damien. Okay, Joey, thanks for that. Trapped in Paradise, insurance doesn't cover you. You're made to pay cash before admission. Okay, I don't know because I never went to hospital. Robert, hi Peter. I was back in Phuket over New Year's and went to a bar on Bangalore Road. The Mama San came up to me. I did exactly what you said in your video, and she looked after me all right. Yeah, I mean, some of the Mama Sans can be a bit annoying. They're a bit clingy. You know, you just think, okay, I bought you a drink. Can you piss off, sort of thing. But most of them, you know, if you sort of look like the one in Stumble, you could have a bad night in Stumble because you know, it's Soi 4, it's Stumble. You could meet the wrong person. And the Mama San in there, she's a real old timer. You know, I think she's about 50, right? She sits at the back and has her dinner early, but she's a real hardcore Mama San. But when I go in there, I always give her 100 baht when I leave. I actually hug her. We have a hug, you know. And she'll see me walking down the street. She'll be like, Peter, come in, have a drink. You know, it's business, isn't it? But she'll look after you. You know, she's the sort of Mama San that if you had any problems, you're giving her, every time you go in there, you give her 100 baht, £2.50, $3, right? Big deal. You know, if somebody started and the police were called and everything, she'd have your back. You know, they'd get it. You wouldn't get it. Good example. Right, Jam Jar Johnny says, good night, wet dreams. I don't think I'm going to have any wet dreams tonight. Okay, check bound. Good night, Peter. Great, you have decision made. All the best, mate. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do as well. I can't tell you too much about that retirement thing at the moment, but there's some things happening. I'll tell you nearer the time. I'm going to actually document the whole thing from selling my house to actually getting the ticket to going out there, finding an apartment, show you the apartment, and just take you from, you know, if you're an old guy and you think, shall I, shan't I, I'm fed up with life, I want to get out there, how does it work? I'm going to show you. I'm 62 in April, right? I live in England. I've got a house. I'm going to sell up. I'm going to pack up. I'm going to move to Thailand. and I'm going to film it, and you can make your own decision. Right, John the Accountant lost the weight sweating in the heat and did not have that processed white bread in the UK with butter and cheese. Yeah, I know. Right, Peter, what's that? Happy. How long, Peter? 5%. Well, I don't know what you mean by that. Right, Fitzy, how are you doing? Welcome home, Peter. Glad you're still smiling. Now you're back in sunny England. Yeah, I do notice all your comments on a lot of the videos, Fitzy. I'm glad you're watching. Thanks for that. Marky Mark, thanks for the stream. I'm sure you have mixed feelings being back in the UK. Cheers. It's a bit depressing, to be honest with you, but I'm not going to do a Mr. Doom and Gloom. I'm here. I'll make the most of it. Do you want the Ladyboy competition next week? Do we do that again? I'm not sure. I'll probably do it because I've got nothing else to do, have I? Shane O'Travis says, I want to retire early. Nice one, Pete. Brilliant show tonight. Keep well, mate. Thanks, Mark. You're asking some awkward questions there, Mark. You know, I had to handle you with kid gloves there now. So, but I know you're an all right guy. You know, sometimes people come in, like I said this in the stream in Bangkok. Not you. I'm not talking about you. But when people come in and they, especially on the videos, when they want to leave shit and have a go at you, they always start by saying, "I love your channel. You put out some great content, but." And then they insult you. It always starts like, "You got a great. I watch you religiously, but," and then they insult you. But I know that's not you, Mark. Right. Okay, so I think I've mentioned that one. Is that Lama Peterson? Will you keep your channel when you move to Thailand? Absolutely. It's called Thailand Bound. It's not called England Bound. Yeah, and that's why I'm going to live in Bangkok, because I'm going to do more. I'm going to, right. Big teams. Good night, Pete. Thanks for a good stream. Go for it, dude. Bangkok is one way forward. Yeah. Just last couple of comments now. John, the kind of Peter looks quite happy back in the UK after a couple of days back in the UK. Feel depressed and hit. All right, right, guys. Don't forget tomorrow. Bridge on the River Kwai. I was there. I was on the bridge on the River Kwai, and I was through Hell Pass. Me and Simon, great video. It's about 30 minutes long. Next week, we're back into the love stories. What else can I do here? If you've got a love story, send it in, or a disaster story, whatever you want to call it. And I'll be back next week, same time. Thanks to all you guys. We had over 600 in at peak, still nearly 500. I've enjoyed talking to you. It's good to be back, actually. So I'll see you all again next Friday. Thanks for being in the stream again. Good night, guys.